And what is up? Welcome back to another Friday night here with the Average Boys podcast. It's your boy Crispy, and I am joined here with my co-host Brian. Brian, what is up, my dude?
What is up, Crispy guys? How's everybody doing out there?
How's it been going, bro? How's your week?
Oh man, I can't complain, man. It's a lot better than last week. I'd tell you that much, man. It's last week was a little bit rough, but this week, you know what? It flew kind of by pretty quickly, so I can't really complain too much. How about yourself though?
Pretty solid, pretty solid. Looking for work. I mean, I've been doing a lot of freelance stuff. I've been messing around with a lot of I don't know if you noticed, but 3D printing stuff
I
online.
saw that, dude. I
Yeah,
saw the little mat. I saw the mats that you did, bro. That was fucking awesome.
yeah. A friend of mine, my friend Gilbert, lent me a 3D printer a couple of weeks ago,
Okay.
and I kind of like dwelled right into the idea of using like all the different programs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I got into this one. A lot of new 3D printing people get into it. It's called Tinkercad.
Tinker. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I went ahead and I jumped on it, and yeah, man, I've been messing with it, and I've been making some crazy stuff. What's really crazy about it is like you don't really get the opportunity to do a lot of freehand stuff.
Okay.
What it is it's like I guess the easiest way to say it is it's kind of like a you use shapes to build products, right? Or to make ideas. So
Hmm.
like you'll get squares or triangles or trapezoids or hectagons or all these different types of shapes. And you can start to like kind of like make different shapes with it. And you can use those shapes as a subtractor to take away from different shapes.
But you can only use those
But you can only use shapes, dude.
those sets
Yeah,
set
set shape. So
shapes.
like when I built the
Yeah.
face mask, like it all had to dwell from like different shapes. So it's there is a tight ass learning curve for it, I'll tell you that much. But overall, not too bad, man. It was a fun it's a fun experience, and I'm still learning and I'm still practicing. Of course, I have a sculpting programs that allow you to do a lot of freehand and a lot of stuff like that too. So not too bad of a program to really use. It's been pretty fun, and I'm digging it. I'm digging it pretty well.
That's cool. That's cool. I like to hear it.
So how is your area for all the vaccine stuff, man? Has it been going a little bit better? Is it getting a little bit
Yeah, Jersey has actually been on the decline the last time that I checked, so everything looks to be balancing itself out.
nice, dude?
We don't have the strict mandates like they do, right next door in New York, so it's not as stressful. But to be honest with you, New York is still thriving. I don't like there's been a few business owners that are complaining about it, but for the most part, man, a lot of people are vaccinated. So, you know, the business isn't really slowing up too much, I don't think.
Okay, so the
How about
numbers
over
have
there?
been.
How about over there where you live though? Like, how's the numbers over there? I know
I
it's
mean,
kind of
for what it is, the numbers are fairly normal, I
okay.
guess you could say. But then again, I'm not really sure like what the normality of is of it in any area.
Okay, okay.
Um, from what I know, like there's not many cases. I know that there's still about 500 cases, maybe. Like so, that's not too crazy compared to the population in the area. But I know that, of course, like vaccines have always been the major problem, like people if they're going to get them or not.
Hmm.
So that number may be like closer to like a 44% in the area, maybe
Okay.
50%. Um, but yeah, so far so good, man. I mean, I've heard of a couple of people passing, of course, which is sad, but
Oh well, I'm
not as
sorry.
the way it was when it first started. And of course, we got all the stores open and everybody's going to different restaurants, and
Yeah,
people are just enjoying life again,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
very nice to see. Me myself tomorrow, I'll be at Anime Fiesta, which is an anime convention that they're going to be hosting down here in the valley. So I'll be there with my best friend Christella.
Okay.
Christella's a cosplay builder. She's been invited
Mhm.
and she's judging all the cosplay stuff. So I'll be there working her
Nice,
booth.
nice,
Huh?
nice.
Yeah, so
That's nice.
she's really big into building. So
Hmm.
yeah, man, it's gonna be a good time. I hope to see a lot of people out there. It'll be really cool to see people. Uh, See everybody in and out as much as I can. Yo, what's up, Alex? How's it going, man?
What's up, bro?
Um, it'll be good to see people out there again, out in the open and stuff like that. The only thing that's kind of a little bit weird about this convention is the guy who's running it is a great guy, Ramsey Ramirez, one of
Mhm.
my closest friends. He chose to. What's up, Rob? Hope you're doing good,
What up,
brother.
bro? What up? What up?
He chose to make it to where the mask was still officially mandated. Like you still no options.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody has
yeah.
100% have to wear the
Mhm.
mask.
Yeah.
There are several conventions, Dallas and San Antonio, that the mask has been optional.
Really?
So a lot of people were, I guess, giving him a lot of slack for it,
Okay.
like because of course, Texas has been pretty open without the mask for for a good while.
Yeah.
But him himself, he's more of a person that doesn't like to take those types of risks. So he's
Okay.
just like, cool, like, everybody wear your mask. So tomorrow the event's going to be fully masked the whole
Okay.
weekend. Um, yeah, and I just hope it goes smooth, man.
Now,
'Cause
let me ask you a question. Now, have you heard of anybody or any particular venue or event where vaccinations were mandatory to get in?
um
Like, is that a thing out there where you guys live?
I mean, not necessarily yet, but there are the of course the bigger franchise businesses that are starting to kind of like
Implement
dwell
that?
into that more. So I
Okay.
know that my friend Chrisella, she works at the mall, and the
Mhm.
company that she works for is already telling people that they have to be vaccinated to work at the mall,
Oh,
like in
wow.
those stores.
Okay.
So to me, that was kind of surprising because I didn't really expect it all so soon.
Mhm.
Like especially with the idea of it being mandated. I
Yeah.
mean, and the reason why is yes, for what it's worth, the COVID-19 is a more prominent disease, I guess you could say. Like it's more deadly in the sense of how many people is killed in the sense of timing.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's where it's a lot different compared to like the flu and how everybody like compares it to the flu and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
Is the amount of death that it caused in a smaller amount of time since its origination
Yeah.
is way more faster than the way the flu was, where the flu, it's been cooking for such a long time.
Yeah.
But then again, humanity's grown a pretty good immune system to it. And the disease, of course, mutates every couple months into
Over
a
time.
stronger one and this and that. That's why they have the booster shots for the flu and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But the speed of this virus has made it to where that's the compelling part about getting vaccinated and trying to beat it as fast as you can, is because it's almost like we're playing an uphill race, right? Like
Yeah.
where the virus itself, since it was modified and since it was created by man, it wasn't created in the sense to be an equal to the flu, but more dominant than the flu.
Of course, yeah.
So we would have, I think humanity eventually would have reached a flu of this level, but it would have been like 2 years from now, maybe 3 years from now.
Mhm.
It wouldn't be like the way it is right now, where it was like a jump in the gap of the flu.
Yeah.
So that's why, of course, the vaccine mandation is, yeah, mandation, right? Uh,
Mandate, yeah.
mandates, yeah, mandation. The vaccine
I'll
mandates
allow it.
are boom. I'm gonna allow it. Dictionary time. That's why I think they're a little bit more important. Do I believe that people should still have the opinion on if they want to get it or not? That's the harder question, right? Because the idea is, to get the vaccine is to be helping your fellow man not get sick,
Mhm.
right? But if you do choose to get the vaccine, the person that doesn't get it should be in a situation that they're safer because the other people have chosen to get it, right?
That's
That's
the normal
the
argument
gist
nowadays.
of it, right? That's the gist
Yeah.
of the argument that everybody has. But the thing is like my biggest concern is there's no guarantee, right? There's going to be like the way it was with the polio vaccine, the way it was with the other flu vaccines. Is there a possibility that 1 out of 20 vaccines can alter a person's body in a way that's negative? Yeah. Like, people have side effects to every kind of, medicine that's out there,
Mhm.
you know. And I just don't think that it's been studied enough for us to feel safe. That's the biggest concern. The biggest concern is knowing that, I don't want to get the vaccine and then, be stricken with an inflamed heart, like
Yeah.
everybody talks about, right? Or what was the Cardi B situation that was going on, which was the friend of hers that had a swollen testicle?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Like, I mean, for what it's worth, like
I shouldn't laugh.
it was wild for her to come out and say that, but I thought it was even more wild for the media to attack her so fast
Okay.
and try to like degrade her after the years of, you know, WAP and all this other stuff about, you know, building her up as an independent woman,
Yeah.
a person of color that's, you know, out there not doing her, you know, when she used to be a stripper and now she's a multimillionaire rap artist. Like,
Mhm.
you know, when she was on their side or their view, like she was a prominent person. And the moment that she asked the question, like they crucified her in front of everybody.
And I don't even think it was about her asking a question because, you know, from my recollection, she didn't ask shit. She wasn't asking anything. She
Yeah.
wasn't telling anybody to not get the vaccine, which is where a lot of people jump the gun. If it's like it's gotten to a point in society where if you say anything negative about the vaccine, there's gonna be a multitude of people that are just gonna jump on you.
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot of people prematurely jumped on her for just giving her perspective on something that happened to a friend of hers or her cousin or whoever the fuck it was.
Yeah, just kind
So
of giving an example of like, oh man,
yeah,
this fucking thing happened. That's crazy as shit.
but then all the people that were on CNN and all everybody that just jumped on her, they were saying, "Oh, well, she's speaking down on the vaccine." She didn't speak down on the vaccine. She didn't say don't. She didn't tell anybody to go out there and just fuck the vaccine. She didn't say that. So again, I think it's just you know what it is as somebody that is kind of just a spectator of a lot of things. It's just funny to see people pick and choose when things work for them. Like when your freedom of speech is in jeopardy, a lot of people defend it, but then when somebody uses it in a way that you don't like it, then it's a problem. It's
It's a
just funny
problem.
to sit. It's just funny to sit there and actually watch that happen in real time.
I know. I mean, it's absolutely correct. I think you're absolutely. I think that's a really really good point. Um, for me and the vaccine, like I'll be 100% honest, and I'll tell people like, yeah, I'm scared to get the vaccine. Like I don't think there's any other way to put it. I'm not a conspiracy theorist because my genuine fear doesn't have anything to do with conspiracy.
But isn't that someone's right?
To
Shouldn't
be
that be yeah, just your right as a human being to question something that you have questions about, things that you're not sure of.
Yeah, I mean,
Like that should be your right to do so. And for
if
somebody to say that you're wrong about that, to me is wrong.
if it wasn't like that, at least putting some type of guarantee that things will be all right if something happens.
Mhm.
You
There
know,
isn't.
like that's what I tell people. The people that have been telling me like that, like their businesses are going to be asking for mandates, and I have another. Actually, you know what? I do have a friend of mine that works for law enforcement
Mhm.
who said that like in the next couple of days is when their department was told that they need to be vaccinated by then. And the thing is they're not respecting the aspect of like religion or anything like that when it comes to the vaccine. So even if you're a religious person and you don't believe in medication or you don't believe in science or whatever it might be, like that's not even an option anymore.
Yeah.
So the government has crossed into the idea of the church and the state, right? So
Yep.
that's already a weird thing. But he was telling me that he just might end up looking for another job because he does not want to get it
Yeah.
because he feels that it should be his right. And I mean, yeah, I can respect that. Like there are people that are out there that are scared and they have every right to be, and it's just what it is. I wish that it was different, but we're just gonna have to see how it all plays out eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll
But
see.
me myself, I still haven't gotten vaccinated yet.
Yeah.
um, I still don't feel safe, and what I tell people is, if you don't feel safe and your company is asking you to do a mandate, tell them you would like to talk to your lawyer first, and you're going to get a contract written out. And the contract is if something happens to you and you get the mandate, the company is 100% responsible for you
Smart.
because it shouldn't be where a company is demanding that you get that without some consequence. They
Mhm.
shouldn't be trying to alter your body. A company that you work for should not be trying to alter your body,
Mhm.
right? And same thing with the government. You know, it's, you know, a lot of people talk about like the abortion laws that are going on in Texas and stuff like that. I 100% agree with the idea of like, dude, I'm not a female. So if that's something that females want to have as a benefit, you do you, boo boo. Like that's not my call.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, if you want to alter your body or your procedure in some way, you're gonna have to pay for it. That's where a lot of people have the problem with the abortion law is that the government pays for it 100% full.
Hmm.
And that's a lot of money that goes into those procedures. And my biggest thing is here's the conspiracy part of that is that for a long time, I believe that the abortion clinics and all that stuff were selling the fetuses and the unborn baby stuff to people who were doing stem cell research.
Hmm.
Hence the reason why a lot of these athletes and stuff were going off to Puerto Rico and
Hmm.
all these other places to do stem cell out of country. And it just so happens that they released that. You remember that 900-page document, right? Well, there's another company called Veritas, Project Veritas,
Okay.
and they're a really hardcore journalist group on YouTube. Like they go off and they like fake dates with people that work at Pfizer and all these stuff. Like they'll take them out to dinners and they'll fucking hide
Hmm.
cameras in places and shit.
Hmm.
And they caught one of them saying that in one of their emails that they were taking the tissues from the kidneys of unborn babies in abortions, and they were using it for the vaccines.
Hmm.
So in a way, this okay. So again, off of the conspiracy shit, that goes off of the idea when Nazis were dealing with eugenics back in the day during World War II. Eugenics has always been a huge, major thing in government.
Mhm.
They always want to find a way to like alter humans. And it just so happens that the virus right now affects us in such a small, like proteins, like it affects our proteins in our bodies.
Okay.
And like all of this stuff that it's just, I don't know. It's just too weird. Just too weird. It would be an interesting conversation to have, a really long fucking conversation to have. But again, I could talk about that kind of stuff for days, but I'm no professional.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's all speculation and theories, just like the way I go off on my comic book shit. Like, it's just, I like to study humans as a herd. And the one thing that, of course, that, is the problem right now is the government is sticking their hands in a lot of people's personal business.
Mhm.
And it's just too much, and it's destroying like the everyday person's life.
Yeah.
Not the rich person. It's not destroying their life. It's the people that are like borderline middle class, lower class. I don't even know what the low class is called. Homeless or what is, I don't know. I don't know what's under middle class. What's under middle class?
Middle class. There is like it's either poor or rich at this point.
Yeah. I mean, and it's nuts, dude, because okay, so when we first started our podcast, like I never really poor. Thank you,
Or yeah.
Robert. Robert's like,
It's
just poor, dude. There's
it's
no,
either that's it. It's either poor or you're rich. There is to me in the way that I look at it, there is no such thing as middle class anymore. And if there is remnants of it, it'll be gone within the next year or two.
yeah, because
It's either you're poor or you're rich. That's it.
and like I was saying, like when we first started the podcast, when I first started the podcast, like yeah, there's always this idea of grandeur, like you want to kind of like make it one day. I guess the idea is like you want to make it and make money. But then
Mhm.
you look at some of the numbers that some of these YouTube people bring in and Twitch and all this stuff, like we're talking like millions in a month, dude. Like
Yeah.
millions. I didn't even know, like I couldn't even fathom the idea of someone making millions off of YouTube. I mean, yeah, like you get your like PewDiePies or like your Nick Mercs or your Tim
I
the
can see
Tatman, like
I can see you making it off of YouTube. What's fascinating to me is like the emergence of like platforms like OnlyFans and shit like that.
oh
Like
yeah,
some of these creators on OnlyFans, call it whatever you want, laugh at it, scoff at it, whatever the fuck you want. But some of these creators are making
they're
bank.
banking, man.
They're
They are
making
banking.
bank, dude, and they're setting up to where they don't have to work in the next 5 years if for
Yeah,
the rest of their life if they don't want to.
it's just
I think
it's
that's
so
fucking
crazy
awesome.
on the idea of these like new age, like I guess side hustles.
Yeah.
Yeah, these new age side hustles are crazy. We were just talking about the cryptocurrency NRTs, right?
The
NFTs.
NFTs, the
Yeah,
NFTs, yeah.
that's something I'm gonna be looking into in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, maybe that's gonna be my niche, man. I don't know.
I encourage everyone that's listening to at least I'm not sure what anyone's stance is on crypto and coins and altcoins and all that stuff. I don't know what your stance is on any of that, but just give it just some research, you know.
Yeah, at least something.
Yeah,
At least
just
something, because you
look
know
into
what,
it.
like even in my concept with it, like I may not like it because I don't get it,
Yeah.
but I'm missing out on that opportunity to at least be trying to make something out of it right now
Exactly.
while
Exactly.
it's still very fresh. I think that's the biggest problem, man, because uh, I always think of it like as the normal thinker, right?
Hmm.
It was like when YouTube first came out, it was people doing videos like just hanging out, little camcorder that connects digitally to your computer and blah blah blah. But like I was never thinking about it in the essence of like, oh, I'm gonna be a billionaire on that one day. I'm gonna make millions on that one day. I'm gonna make a career out of it.
Yeah.
It was always that idea of like, oh man, you know what? I should start YouTube. That'd be fun. That'd be fun if I made videos, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like straight up, like if 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 I would have started doing podcasting when I talked about it with Trigger, like first off, like way back in like 2008,
Yeah.
if I would have jumped on it right then and there, dude,
Get fucking
I
out of
we
here.
could have been fucking super high by then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the idea is that I was just kind of like, nah, let me pull back a little bit. Like, it's not cool. My biggest thing is like, I think I waited. I think I jumped in on the wrong opportunity. The idea was correct, but the timing was the wrong opportunity.
You thought you were
When
too early or too late?
I think I jumped on it a little too late. And the reason
Why
why
is
I
that?
say that is because when I first started getting into podcasting, bigger companies were already making podcasts.
Okay.
So that means like the podcast, it already had been out there too long. That was the equivalent to like when YouTube first came out, like CNN and Fox News and on MSNBC, like that's they when they made their first channels is
Hmm.
when it was already too late for the normal person. Like when the bigger corporations jump into the free to use is when
Hmm.
it's already too late. I think we the like coming on that idea is the idea of like the webtoon, right?
Okay.
Like if webtoons are online comic books for creators and anyone can do them for free. You can
Yeah.
find websites and just put it out there and publish your own shit. You're just making webtoons. I have a friend of mine, Shelby Champion. He makes a Starstream. He has his
Hmm.
own webtoon. Fucking amazing, amazing story. But this concept is, he puts it out there, or another person that cannot break into the franchise of comic books goes out there and creates it, puts it out there, starts to make some, a little bit of cheddar, nothing too crazy, but he just makes a little bit and he gets that much. But then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I think, Marvel finally jumped out there and started making free webtoons for everybody.
Yeah.
And in the first day, I think their webtoons were hitting like 7,000 to 15,000 views,
Hmm.
which was already topping the majority of people who barely put their comics out there.
Yeah.
But that's because of the fact that they have a huge name already. They have a huge base. But since they see the popularity of all these other things working, they automatically throw their spaghetti up against the wall.
Yeah.
Like they try to see how the idea works. And it kind of like when they do that is when a plethora of the fan base that are like the hardcore fans
Hmm.
then want to do the same thing because they want to follow that trend,
Trend.
that trend. So then
I
right now that concept is like super uh just oversaturated.
But I think going back to the core of this conversation, I gotta respectfully disagree with you. I don't think it's too late. I don't think that you got on it too late at all. I just think it all depends on what your definition of what success is.
Oh yeah, of course.
So if you feel as though you need to be at a certain level, that might not be your actual definition of what success is, and maybe
Yeah.
you need to adjust what that is. um I myself am just getting into the space. I don't again myself think that it's too late. I honestly feel as though there's still room for a lot of smaller independent uh podcasts to succeed. I watch it every day.
I
I
mean, it's
listen
one of
to
those concepts. Like, I mean, there's always going to be opportunity, right?
Yeah, so I think that there's going to be room for everybody. This is a very big space. I don't think there's a cap. There's no ceiling.
Yeah,
I think,
that's true.
and honestly, you may look at it as it being too late, but podcasts in reality, it's still new. We don't know what the people that are in that space that you're talking about, that you see as success, we don't know how far they're going to take it, and then we're the people after them, which would be us, where we can take it.
Well, I
So
guess it's also
I don't think it's too late at all. I think we are
no,
just in
like
the
I know what you
infancy,
mean.
the
I
infancy
100%.
of podcasts.
I know what you mean. Like it's not the sense that it's like too late. That's not what I'm saying. Like I don't want it to come off like thinking that there's like a specific time that you have to do this, because this goes out to anybody that might be listening that has always wanted to do their own, right?
Mhm.
There's not the concept of it being too late, because whatever idea you may have, you may put it out there and it may hit just super fast, and everybody jumps on it and likes what you're doing.
Yeah,
They could be your character or your
exactly.
confidence level or
Mhm.
whatever it might be. There's a lot of opportunities out there. Um, the one thing that I feel in the sense of that is the idea of just the oversaturation of numbers, right? That's the
But
only problem with the situation.
there's a oversaturation of everything. It's the way of the world. It's
Yeah, of course.
everything moves at the speed of light nowadays. So everything is going to be oversaturated. The first person that was on OnlyFans, is probably looking at it as oversaturated now. The first person that did anything can look back and think that it's oversaturated now. So just because something may seem oversaturated, things change over time. And with that being said, no matter how oversaturated something is, there's gonna be opportunity for everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could see that. And then not only that, like with the way things are, you get one person that's super successful,
Mhm,
and then another person sees that person's success and can sometimes copy or follow the trend and
mhm,
then become popular off of that motion,
yeah.
right? That would be like I mean, we see it a lot like on TikTok, right?
We
Like
see
on
it a lot just in everyday life.
yeah.
Like, not to bottle cap it to, a certain, or content creators or anything like that, but just in everyday life. And
Yeah.
honestly, that to me, that's the process of life. This is actually what I'm talking about. It's like the people that are in the space where we deem as successful, we don't know where they're going to take it. So it's actually smart for us to follow in their footsteps so that when they do make the shit bigger, then we're ready for it as well.
Then we're
So
ready and prepared.
we're ready and prepared for it.
Ready and
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah.
That is a pretty good concept. That's a pretty good concept. I still haven't gone on to any other social medias. I know we were talking about it, making an Instagram.
Yes. So
Right.
anybody that's listening, I had to damn near yell at Chris. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
bro,
super rough.
we we gotta get Instagram. We have to get TikTok. We have to be just everywhere. So anybody that's listening, I actually the day that Facebook and Instagram crashed was the day that me and Chris had this conversation, or the day before that. So that kind of got pushed back, and then the rest of my week was kind of crazy. But there is going to be a The Average Boys podcast
Mhm.
Instagram page, TikTok page. Just give me a second. I am going to get us there. Promise.
Yeah, we're
Just
working on it.
we're working on it. Just to
We are
tell you.
definitely working on it. But yeah, that was crazy, man. The we had a huge crash this week. Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff crashed. It was quite the excitement, man. A lot of people were just going nuts, so man.
Yeah, it made the rounds, man. Everybody was talking about it. Myself, I will confess, I was one of those people that thought it was my phone. I thought it was my service. So I I shut my phone off and then turned it back on just to realize that I was an asshole and that Instagram was actually down. So but you know what's the interesting part about this? I was thinking about it. So it's so funny because it just so happens that the day before was when the whistleblower shit happened, right? So I honestly think it was the powers that be over there at Facebook and Instagram. They were just flexing like, look, bro, you
So
guys
you
can
think
think you can
so?
think what you want,
Apparently, all the stuff
but
that
we run this
collapsed,
shit.
all the programs that collapsed are all under Facebook, right?
Yeah. That was
So
them flexing, saying, we still run this, you still need us. Don't get crazy.
do you think that's what it was?
I think that was 1,000% what it was.
I mean, from what I heard,
All those content creators that make money off of Instagram, when they realized that they could not post something, they went ape
they
shit.
went crazy.
They went
They went
crazy.
crazy. And that's because I had heard that the reason why it went offline or whatever was because they were doing some update to like the business part of Facebook,
Okay.
and they were just changing something up. But then of course, like I heard then after that, of course, I heard conspiracies after conspiracies. I heard a hacker hacked Facebook and did the thing that actually our guest Luis was talking about, where he said that there's the hostage viruses where you can like hold something hostage for cash,
The
like
hacker
a
was
hostage server.
the hacker of Facebook was Facebook.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it was the same thing.
They hacked their own
I
shit,
kind of
bro.
feel like they did it as a dopamine check.
Yeah,
The
that was a
when you
reality check. It was a chin
like
check.
yeah, like kind of like like you do to a crackhead or whatever.
Yeah, it
Take it
was a
away
chin
from
check.
them and you make them want it more.
Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, I could see that. Um, but yeah, other than that, I wasn't one of those people that went crazy or anything on it. It didn't really bother me too much. I was
It
just
was
like, eh.
just it was just so annoying because of the day that again I was trying to set up the Instagram page and I'm like, "Are you gotta be fucking shitting me?" And I just couldn't get on. And normally when it goes down for like what, like a couple minutes, half hour. When it reached about an hour in, I'm like, "All right, I give up."
Yeah. Nah, I roughly think the same way. Like the moment I got on, I kind of like I think I hit a friend of mine up and I was like, "Yo, is your Facebook acting up?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, cool." And then I know it's not me.
Yeah,
But yeah, we have some pretty cool things that we're going to be kind of chatting around today. Probably
absolutely.
not
Let's
going to be
go.
like a super long show, but we do got some stuff. But before we start,
What do you got?
I want to give a special thanks to our first sponsor.
Oh,
We ended up getting a sponsor that's going to be helping the show out. A
we're
really good
famous.
friend of mine, Pete Martinez, Restore the Snyderverse, my dude. He is going to be hosting, which is something he's been doing for a while, a convention that's going to be coming up. It's called Harlingen Fan Convention. He's got a bunch of great guests, and I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Pete and Harlingen Fan Convention for sponsoring us and hooking us up. We have a cool little video that we made that we're going to blast real quick just for the sponsorship. So check this out. There you go, man. November 6th and 7th in Harlingen, guys. We're going to be there. We got Ray Fisher, Cyborg himself from the Justice League Snyder movie. We have John Wesley Snipes, which is the original Jay Garrett or the original Flash, Barry Allen from like the 1990 show. And now the new Jay Garrett in the CW show and a bunch of other guests, guys. It's going to be an amazing show. If you're from the Valley, go check it out. Hello to Claw and Order. Hello there from Twitch. Thank you for jumping on the podcast, jumping in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really cool show, man. Pete's been a really great guy. He puts on a really great show. That's where we had the opportunity to meet like Gabriel Luna from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Ghost Rider guy. We also met Johnny on Bosch, who is the original. No, not the original. He's the Black Power Ranger, the Black Ranger, not the black guy Power
Not
Ranger.
the black guy,
He was
Black
the one
Power
they brought
Ranger.
in after. And I had the opportunity to ask why they did that, because I never knew why they changed out the Red Ranger and the Black Ranger for the film.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that, yeah.
It's because like on the tails of that, the two characters were still in the TV show.
In the TV show, yeah.
And then in the movie, they weren't. It was so wild. But the reason why that happened was because of money. They wanted a lot more money. The actors from the TV show, they wanted to be paid. And apparently they weren't getting paid enough. So they just brought in two new dudes and they were like,
so they said, you know what? You guys sit tight.
We got this.
We got this. You guys
take a seat. Dude, that was wild to me when I heard that, because I was like, wow, that's so petty, dude. Yeah, like I mean, I don't know how much they were getting paid, but like to give away your opportunity to be in a full-length feature film, taking your television show, because that's already like super rare to do already, right? Where you take a television show, you make it a full-length feature film, and you put like money behind it to make it look awesome and stuff.
Yeah.
You look at the production quality from the television show to the television quality of the film.
To the film, yeah.
And man, the film looked gorgeous, man. It was, man, the original Power Ranger movie was awesome.
It was.
Yeah, we got the opportunity to meet Johnny on Bosch, who, yes, was the Black Power Ranger in the film, the Power Ranger movie,
Mhm.
and he's also a very, very prolific voice actor. He does a
Okay.
lot of like he did Bleach, Ichigo's,
Okay. Yeah.
Trigun. He's the voice of Vash. Akira, he's the voice of Kaneda.
Okay.
Like he's done amazing, amazing stories, and he's constantly working. I mean, even in New Times, he was the character Nine in the new My Hero movie, Tale of
Okay.
Two Heroes. He
Okay.
was the last villain in that movie.
Hmm.
So like the guy is still working on voice acting, and not even to brag about it, but he just did his own independent film called Arc Exodus,
Okay.
which you guys can check out if you go to his YouTube channel. Arc, I think Exodus is spelled different, like exit, exit us. But yeah, I got to see it. It was a cool story. He did his own what is it, CG effects and all that stuff, and it came out very good, man. This guy is he's a hero in my eyes when it comes to the voice acting world and the anime world. He's like super great, and he's such a nice guy to meet and stuff like that. Um, yeah, man. From there, we're gonna have two Power Rangers. We're gonna have the Pink Ranger, not the original Pink Ranger, the one that came out in Zeo. There
Okay.
was the Yellow Ranger and the Pink Ranger from Zeo. I
Okay.
forgot their names. I can't think of their off the top of my
It's
head.
a little bit past my time, but yeah.
Yeah, Catherine and Nakia. Yeah. Um, but yeah, for sure. Like, I'm really, really interested in meeting Cyborg, Ray Fisher.
I was gonna say Ray Fisher is probably would be at the top of my list.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing to be able to just to pick his brain about a few things.
I do want to talk to him about like the whole, like, I mean, I wonder if they'll let me, but like
I
all the
was gonna say
concept of
there
like
is
all the
zero.
drama stuff.
There is I don't think there's gonna be any way you're able to get to those questions. If you do, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, because what really makes it a lot better is since they released the Snyderverse, like he really had that opportunity to shine more.
Hmm.
So being from what they did with the Whedonverse to the
Hmm.
Snyderverse, the Whedonverse is where he had the majority of the problems,
Yeah.
right? And then the Snyderverse is where, of
All of the
course,
problems.
yeah, of course, him and a lot of the other actors are like, "Yo, restore the Snyderverse." Of course, for like most of them, it's because it gives them the idea of having like a $1 million job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I could see where him, like what they did for his character, where he would want to see the more exploration of his character.
Yeah.
But for me, as a comic book fan, I would want to ask him, like, well, how do you feel though? How Snyder like almost practically shit all over the Injustice story? Because like that is like a real like that's a crime, dude. From what he did to the his telling of the Injustice story.
Yeah.
Like I know that you had told me about it like last week that they were going to do the animated film,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the animated film will probably touch base more on the comic book variation.
Yeah.
But like for Snyder to be like, all right, cool, like Lois is gonna have, Bruce Wayne's love child. I think we talked about this a little bit like last week.
We did. We
Right.
did. Mhm.
Like for him to do some of these things, it's almost like a perversion of the original story. And I think it's a really easy way to destroy the friendship that they've created throughout the hundreds of years of comic books,
Mhm.
like of Bruce and Clark like being like almost brothers.
I was gonna say because there's no coming back from that.
Yeah.
There's no
Like
there's no coming back from that. If
yeah, there's
Clark finds
not.
out, yeah, there's no coming back from that. There's no more friendship
I
after
just
that.
I don't understand where people get the idea that would be a great story to tell, because this goes off of like the idea of knowing like, okay, like let's say Snyder, it's almost like the Joker movie, right?
Mhm.
The Joker movie by itself, standalone, great. But it wasn't the Joker. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we talked about this, right?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Yeah.
I disagree with you, but I mean, I totally understand your perspective on it. I totally get your point.
For me, it's just really easy piggyback riding on a character that already has so much resource.
Yeah.
Like they just took the concept of him and was like, cool, let's just make it our own thing.
Mhm.
And then say, well, don't worry, fans and people who actually love the franchise, don't worry because this is disconnected. It's not going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Only to hear like recently that they're talking about giving him a 3 sign deal and then have him fight Robert Patterson's Batman and put him in
Yeah,
this. And then you're kind of like, wait a minute. Then we have to go back and we have to look at that movie and be like, well, what is this garbage?
I never take what studios or executives say prior to the box office, because once you start hitting that $1 billion range, things start to change.
Yeah, of course.
I know you say this is gonna be like a standalone movie. It's not gonna have any implications. No. Once your movie hits $1 billion, you'll figure some things out, and that's
yeah,
what happens.
you're gonna do workarounds.
Yeah, you're gonna figure a couple things
we can,
out.
We can tweak it. We can tweak it a little bit.
Yeah,
we can tweak it a little bit. And you know what? I 100% understand that. Your audience needs to be vast. The reach of audience needs to be vast. What's up, D? How you doing, big man?
Love you, brother.
The reach of the audience needs to be vast in the sense of like, if you're gonna just show a movie, it needs to be able to reach children, just as it reaches old people. That's a huge demographic of people that your content has to reach. So if I make a story that's about Captain America, I have to make it exciting for the new person that's never read a comic, and I have to please the old person that has read the comics for years. I have to find the middle grounds behind that. And I understand that. Like, I understand it's not going to be word for word what the comic book gave.
I'm going to call bullshit, because then you got to entertain the viewers like you as well. So it's like, it's I don't know. It kind of seems is like you're going to have to pick your poison. You're going to have to stick to one or two demos and just go for it. And everybody else that doesn't like it, you just got to.
Well, it's like I tell people, like me, myself, I mean, I have a pretty good, a large assortment of like knowledge of the comic book world. The comic book movies that I've seen throughout the 10 years in Marvel and the 10 years of DC or whatever, like none of them have reached the pinnacle of what the comic book arcs they're trying to tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do find enjoyment in those comics. Like, what a time, like I tell people, what a time to be alive for comic book lovers. Because right now we're finally getting the justification for comic books that we've always wanted. This isn't like the old
mainstream on like a mainstream level, dude.
Yeah, on
like
a really huge level.
On the highest level. Yeah.
I feel kids drive the market. Even if dad is mad how they did the movie or the franchise, he'll still spend money. Oh yeah, but the thing is like most of the time it's actually the wife that you want to kind of get out there and have them watch, because the mother is the one that kind of has the say so in the family. You know what I mean? She's the one that's going to put the money out. You know what I mean? That's like every business and like every martial arts school tells us, like, if you're going to market to the mother, don't market to the father, because the dad just wants his kids to look cool because he's in boxing. You know, but the mom will be the one that's going to put the cash down, after school programs or whatnot. I kind of feel like it's the female. That's why we have a lot of like no t-shirts of Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans and, you know, all the showing the muscly bodies off. Like, I kind of feel like the woman
throw them a bone for lugging,
because
for lugging all the kids out.
Get a bunch of dudes to go watch movies. That's easy. But you know, when you take a shirt off, you'll get the ladies to go.
It's a little incentive.
Yeah, a little incentive for the ladies to go. Chris Hemsworth without a shirt on, yeah, man, you'll get one. You'll get one or two ladies in the crowd.
Yeah.
But yeah, like overall, like I understand that concept where it's not going to be like cynical to the comics.
Yeah.
I mean, could it be? Like, could they be a little bit closer? Yes.
It can't, because you have to figure they have 2 hours for the most part, 2 hours, 3 hours to condense these storylines that have these major arcs and these major character developments. And it's going to be hard to do that. And then all the other obstacles, like we talked about last week, the obstacles of like, you really can't stick exactly true to the source material, because now you have to pay these writers from these comic books. You don't want to do that. So it's kind of like it's difficult. At the same time, make sure that the comic book enthusiasts, the moms, the dads, the kids, everyone, the old people, they're all happy. That sounds challenging. That sounds challenging. And the ones that do succeed and make $1 billion, that's why I tip my hat to them, because that's
why you get like these guys like Snyder that come in and they do like a huge rework of the original story, but use the same title, right?
Yeah.
And it's like Jeremy put earlier, like the cast and the crew really liked Snyder's view of what he was going with, right?
I liked it too.
I mean, the reason why I think they like it is because there's no other movies in the line with any of those characters right now. Like, they kind of gave a definitive JLA and that's it. Like, you don't really have anything else going for it. In fact, like Joss Whedon did one. Zack Snyder released the 4-hour one that DC was just like, whatever, like we don't know what we're doing with it next. We put Darkseid in the future of it, but we're not really saying how we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
But like we don't know what definitive story. Like, are you gonna go with Joss Whedon's? Are you going with Snyder's? Like, what universe? Two of them kind of are telling the same story, but they're not. Where of course I always thought Ray Fisher's story of Cyborg deserved its own film.
Okay.
But they decided to just say, nah, we're not gonna give him a film. We'll just put him in the Justice League movie, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed at that. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't have mind seeing like a football player, really big
Origin, like an origin.
yeah,
type
like
of
like a
story.
deeper origin. Because the
Yeah.
concept is the way DC's been making films is it's very like cynical on it being super serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like them following him as a high school kid or as a college guy, enjoying life as a college kid, like almost being it's where he turns into Cyborg, like almost closer to like the third of the movie.
Yeah.
Like literally like past the middle part of the movie, like into the third. And then it's him almost like dealing with almost treating it as if it's like an amputee or a disability or like a phantom pain. And then something happens and he steps up into being like a hero, like a person stealing, I don't know, robbing something. Yeah, just something stupid, something small. And then he gets into it. And then you start the Justice League movie from there. Because there can still be some of that turmoil that he's dealing with, him being this character where he has no like feelings and he can remember what it's like to have arms and legs. And there's so much more that they could have dwelled on that people would have been like, holy shit. Like,
I love that idea.
And then the concept is like, then you compare it to what he's been doing for years in the cartoons and the movies, and it's just been booyah and comedy. And that's what the guy, Ray Fisher, was like, I'm not going to say booyah. Like he was the one that was like, I'm not going to say that word.
Yeah.
Because that's comic booky or whatever. And that's not my thing, which a lot of people were disappointed with. Like even to have him say it like in a whisper, like booyah, like in a one part would have been nice.
Yeah.
Because it's a kind of just a nod to the character in the comics. But he chose not to do it.
I do love that idea. But to be honest with you, what Zack Snyder did with the re-release, I'm not mad at it.
No, not at all, man.
They did Ray Fisher justice.
Yeah,
like, they really did. They did as best as they possibly could with the amount of time that they were allotted, and they did a great job.
I like when they did the flashback when they were talking about the box.
Yeah,
when he's like walking through parts of history, like other films.
Yeah,
I think he was walking through the Wonder Woman film. Like after she destroyed that one Nazi base and the soldiers went in there and they were like taking things out of the boxes and moving it around, and that's where they found the mother box in the first place.
Yeah,
I like that he's there, like and I like that his avatar is him in his Letterman jacket from high school.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that's so fucking like that is. It's great. It's literally really good in the sense of story. Like you feel that feel that part of him where he misses or remorses that, but that's the way he sees himself.
And furthermore, and I'm sorry, but just even furthermore, like they dove into the aspects of what his powers actually are, as opposed to the Joss Whedon version where it was all about being a superhero. Dude, like no, he's able to connect to any computer in the world.
Yeah,
and
it's more like that was really more into the comic.
Yeah,
that it showed how intricate his powers were.
Yeah,
but you see, like that's the thing about like Joss Whedon is like for a very very long time that guy's been writing superhero stories.
Yeah,
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Dark Angel. Like there was a bunch of like just different shows that this guy has done where he brings together a team. They all work together. There's a little bit of comedy, a little bit of sass, and he's really good at that. He's really, really good. Which we get that vibe in the Whedonverse Justice League when they all come together when Superman comes back, and they're all in that weird like line stance when he's kind of like floating in the middle of the air, and everyone's like, "Do we pet him? Do we show our bellies?" Or what does the Flash say? Like, that whole vibe was 100% Whedon all the way through.
Yeah,
like. It's just what he's known for, but he doesn't do like, I wouldn't really say he doesn't, but he doesn't do that really dark seriousness good. And I think Cyborg's character in the Snyder one needed that. Like it needed that dark storytelling. Like when his body's being ripped apart by the mother's box
Yeah.
and he's staring directly at his face and he's like, that's the moment right there. Like those really like you feel the heartbreak in the way Snyder says it more than Whedon. So yeah, man, I'm really excited to meet him. There's a lot of questions that I have. I even want to ask him about the whole like booyah, like why, like what's his real thing, and if he
That's a
dug it
that's
from
a
the
that's a dope question.
yeah, that's like I really want to ask him about that. And then
Yeah.
of course, like John Wesley, like back in the day, me and my brother were really big fans of his cartoon in the Flash, his TV show in the Flash.
Mhm.
The opportunity to work with like Mark Hamill
Yeah.
and be super close to him and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Them, Jay and Silent Bob kind of like making fun of his characters and stuff like
Yeah.
that with the cock knocker and like all of that old school like storytelling.
Yeah.
I do have some questions for him also, and just the opportunity to meet these people is a really great thing. It's a really fun thing.
Sounds like a dope time, man. I'm
Yeah,
kinda
it's gonna
jealous.
be.
I'm
I'm
kinda
I,
jealous, to be honest
I'm
with you.
gonna try my best to live feed something to you, man. I'm gonna try my best to get you in
That
there.
would be
If
shit,
not,
man.
I'm gonna
Sign me
just
up.
jack questions from you. I'm gonna
That's
get you to
fucking
record questions and
amazing.
just
Yeah,
do it.
no, that sounds like a great time.
Yeah,
I'm
it's gonna be
jealous as
good.
fuck.
And then hopefully we get to bring you down soon and bring you to a con and get you to do all of it too with us.
I am in. Book it, dude. I am in. I'm
That'll
in.
be fantastic. All right, man. Well, let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's get to what we came
Let's
here to
get
talk
to
about.
it.
So, first things first. First deal of the day. Did you get the opportunity to watch the Squid Game?
What's that?
Oh no, you didn't get to see it.
No, of course I saw it, man. Are you kidding me? I couldn't escape it. Like
Excellent.
everyone's talking about it. Everyone is tweeting about it, memeing about it. Like I couldn't escape it. So I'm like, dude, I gotta at least. And honestly, I binged it. I knocked it clean out too. Like I didn't even fuck around with it. Like I knocked it out in like the first day.
The first
It
day
was
and
over.
stuff.
It was over.
Dude, it's very interesting on how this show out of nowhere grew in popularity so fast.
Yeah, man.
It had been on Netflix for man, I want to say like maybe a week and a half.
Yeah.
I had seen a post about it on Facebook. Someone said, "Hey, you know what? That Squid Game movie is pretty good. It's kind of like," and then mentioned a couple of other films, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, like there's already a couple other films like this. I'm not super hyped about it or whatnot."
Mhm.
And then I saw another person, someone that I trust a lot when it comes to like films.
Yeah.
Then they posted on it and they were like, "Hey, you know what? This was very refreshing." And when I saw that post, I was kind of like, all right, like Netflix, I'm not really like a big fan of. Like, it doesn't really like kind of like the originals don't really hit me all that good.
Yeah.
And then, of course, for what it's worth, like Korean films, Japanese films, they do fairly well, but it does lack on some things.
Okay.
Like you look at the Rurouni Kenshin story and the recent ones that they put out, which is the beginning and the finale, fantastic.
Okay.
It literally follows the Samurai X story more than Rurouni Kenshin's story. But they recently had released the Rurouni Kenshin stories a while back from the same directors, same company, same all that stuff. And the last film really dropped the ball for me. Like the third installment of the Rurouni Kenshin story, like really dropped the ball.
Okay.
But these remakes that they just released on Netflix, dude, spectacular. Spectacular. They kind of like, instead of it being more about the cartoony variation of the anime, they kind of went for like the seriousness of the storytelling. And you can feel it to where it feels more like The Last Samurai. It feels like the 13 Assassins movie. It feels like a wholehearted like samurai movie rather than it be an anime into a film.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like a lot of these like Asian storytelling stories, like there's some parts that do very well. There's some parts that don't do very good. Sometimes it's a little far-fetched. Sometimes it's not. And I think what was really, really cool about the Squid Game story was that it was very grounded in the sense of like, hey, you know what? Like this shit could happen. Like it doesn't feel like not like, I mean, so what were your takebacks for seeing it for the first time? Because I don't know if you're into a lot of like these Asian films that are like this.
I personally am not very familiar with too many. So I had like a fresh set of eyes on the on that type of genre. But I dug it, man. I dug it. Listen, I'm a little bit sick anyway in the in the head. So like these type of movies are gonna and it, that's why I already knew beforehand I was gonna eventually watch it because this is my type of shit. So it's like you tell me that you're bringing aspects of certain movies that I do like and you're putting it into a Netflix movie and I'm gonna watch it or series and I'm gonna watch it. I really enjoyed this. I honestly I don't think I liked it as much as other people, but it was a very solid show. Very solid show. And
Good
just
point. Good point.
the dynamics between everybody involved and the realness of what people would actually be like in a situation like that. It's going to touch a lot of different people. And that's what I look for in a show like this. And it checked all the boxes. So I was really uh satisfied by
There was
the
a
end.
lot of sense of relatability with some of these characters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's that.
Absolutely.
I think you're absolutely onto it when you said that there was a sense of like that relatability to the characters. The writing was very sound.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to those situations, like um, like I was saying earlier, there are other films that are very casually like this. One
Mhm.
of the ones that it gets pointed to a lot is going to be probably Battle Royale.
Okay.
Battle Royale is a older film, uh, and it's kind of casually based on the same situation.
Mhm.
A bunch of random people putting a group together to do some random things. What's up, Eels? How we doing, brother? Um, a bunch of people randomly put together to take each other out, Hunger Games style,
Yeah.
right? The thing is the difference is that this one is game based,
Yeah.
where I guess you could say Battle Royale is essentially like a solo PUBG.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
where like they put everybody on an island and they're like, all right,
And
bet, go ahead and
go.
kill each other.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
last person wins. The problem with it is Battle Royale was through and through, it was roughly about like like uh the worst high school class that any school had to deal with, like the delinquent classes,
Okay.
right? And what they do is like they do a lottery of like the top 10 worst classes in Japan. And then they're like, okay, cool. Whoever wins gets put on the island and they have to kill each other. And then the one person becomes a normal citizen and everybody else just gets dead because they're not going to handle these fucked up kids or whatever.
Pretty fucked up situation.
Yeah. And that story, and even in that one, like when they're introducing all the children, like, yeah, you have your main character.
Mhm.
He has, and man, dude, it's so sad, but because they have their best friends that they kind of like grew up with, because school in Japan is different from America, where like the people that you're in elementary with, you're gonna grow up with like your entire life in the
Your
same
whole
class.
life.
Unless you move away, you're pretty much gonna be in the same people with it, like the same class, because the school, like you don't change schools, you don't change classes, you don't change anything, it just stays the same.
Yeah.
So when they get into this thing, like they have to be pitted against the people that they've been best friends with, you know what I mean, all their lives.
Mhm.
And they got to kill each other. And you know what I mean? Like it's wild as fuck, dude. It's wild. But
Sounds
then
wild.
even in that story, like the twist is like you have these random two characters that are like not a part of the class, but they volunteered to be a part of it anyways.
Just because they like to.
Yeah, just because they wanted the excitement or whatever.
Oh,
And you're kind of like, fuck, dude. And that's why.
it's fucking hardcore.
So for the people that are out in our audience, like if you haven't seen it, we're gonna be talking a little bit about spoilers a little bit later for
Oh
Squad.
yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, for Squid Games, but we're not gonna talk about that yet. But this is what I was talking about earlier. So when I was watching the show very earlier, I kind of figured out what the villain was gonna be. Right. So and I don't. Oh, this is Brian Davis. He's the co-host. So Edgar, he's one of my norms. He's one of my support groups.
Okay.
Trigger has got himself a night job and he's kind of been out for a couple of weeks, but we don't know when he's going to come back. Brian's a really good friend of mine from Jersey, and he decided and told me he's got my back to jump in the show and talk nerd with us. So
Of course.
he's kind of had to come in and jump right into the nerd talk, but he's been doing fairly well. But yeah, that's Brian. So Brian's cool. And that's Eels. Well, I call him Eels, but it's Edgar. Eels is his gaming name. But Edgar is his name. He's a good friend of mine. So yeah, going back to what I was talking about, I kind of figured who or what the villain was going to be eventually. Kind
Okay.
of figured out how it was going to kind of casually all end. But there were some stuff that came up that it was kind of out of nowhere, which I was very uh pleasantly cool with. The
Yeah,
one that I was really cool with was the Indian character.
but he annoyed me.
Did he really?
He
Why did
annoyed
he
the
annoy
fuck.
you?
He annoyed the fuck out of me, bro.
Because he was too
Like, come
nice or
on, you
what?
don't, yo. All right, so the way that he got tricked out of the fucking rocks or like the rocks or the marbles, or whatever. Come on, bro. Are you kidding me?
He was
Like,
gullible, but you know,
you have to understand like the severity of what the fuck is going on here, bro. Like, that was like the most elementary fucking tricks in the fucking. Are you kidding me?
what was really cool about his character is first that they brought him someone of a different nationality.
That was dope. I
Yeah,
did
that's where I
like
was
that.
kind of like,
I did.
because
It
if
was
you
dope.
notice, like he was the only Indian cat in that
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
group,
yeah, yeah.
even
That
throughout
was
all
dope.
the other one.
Yeah,
Now the other thing is they got his culture right, which is
yeah.
this guy comes from like that Pakistani culture where if you give if you give a little bit of respect, they respect you tremendously.
Okay.
So remember in the first iteration of the story when they release everybody back, he's like hundreds of miles away from his house
Yeah.
and he doesn't have a way home. And that same guy like offers him money, lets him even goes and buys a battery to set up his phone just to get him
Phone.
to
Yeah,
use it
yeah, yeah,
first. Like
yeah.
he doesn't even attend to himself first. He gives it to him. And that's why when it came to that part, he 100% trusted him.
Trusted him,
Yeah, he
and that's
100%
great.
trusted.
And to your point, that is great
Yeah.
storytelling.
That it was really great storytelling. And but as the watcher, you just knew like deep down inside, like something just doesn't feel right. Like, you know, the moment that guy walked away, like you were
Yeah.
just like,
No,
I don't
you
know,
knew it.
man. That guy's sweating real weird. Like
Yeah, no, there wasn't even
the
any
Indian
question
guy like
about it.
just trusted him, dude.
Yeah, there
Like,
wasn't even any question about it. I
yeah,
knew that
he just
he
like
wasn't bullshitting.
100% believed in him.
Yeah.
And it's because of the main character that every time that, you know, he was always praising that dude. He was always like, that guy, smartest dude I know, went to college,
Yeah. Yeah.
smartest dude. So the guy was like, yeah, man. I know he's a really great dude. Like, I can't wait. Like, so like the moment that dude was like, the other guy was, oh man, I got a plan. He was like, I believe in you. Like,
Yeah.
man, that was so sad.
Hell
So
yeah.
sad. And it's crazy because like a lot of people now are kind of like, this is a really good symbolism for people who, what is it like? Last guys finish last.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
That too. I saw another meme where it had that guy, the supposedly smart guy from the neighborhood who ended up being an asshole, and then the other the gangster with the snake tattoo
mhm.
on his face, and it's like a meme that says like there's like there's two people that'll backstab you, but at least one you will know will backstab you. So the other one you got to look out for. Like it's like a meme
Mhm.
like that. It's like, and it's just certainly true, bro. Like you got
The
to watch
tale of
out
two
for people
evils
like
kind of
that.
thing.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's that show was again, the story writing was fucking amazing, and the way that they actually took the time to get into everyone's backstories to make you have that type of connection to these people, phenomenally done.
Yeah, and it's really showing, man. The popularity of the show has
Of course.
been tremendous in the last couple of
Absolutely.
days. Tremendous. It's looking at being the number one watch show on Netflix.
Yes.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
I think it already is. And then not only that, but like the actress, the female lead, what's her name? Ho Young Jung,
yeah,
15 million
subscribers.
followers on
Wow.
Instagram.
Holy shit.
Basically
Like
overnight.
overnight.
Basically overnight. Yeah, dude, like that's spectacular.
That's
And
fucking
and she
crazy.
deserves it. She deserves it. She
Yeah,
played her
she did an amazing job.
ass off. She did an amazing job. Actually, everybody in the cast.
Yeah, the entire
Hats
cast
off
was
to
good.
him.
It's
Hats
real
off to
crazy
him.
because Edgar's talking about the old man. He's like, the old man was my favorite. And what's really crazy is like the
You
old
love the
man
old
was
man, bro.
was in the original film. I don't know if you guys ever saw Kung Pao.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Kung Pao. So the guy that's like the master,
Yeah.
the one that's like, oh, I have some neosporin for you or
That's
whatever. Like
yeah,
that's him.
yeah.
That is the original actor. Like he's such like it's so cool to see him still working. And I really think that the old man did such an amazing job in that film.
Let me ask you a question before you
Shoot.
continue. In the story itself, why do you think in the first go around when everybody first went to the compound or whatever, why do you think the old man being the deciding factor on whether or not you stayed or left, why do you think he decided to send everybody home?
Because they didn't want the opportunity.
No, not everybody else, but you remember, like, it was down to him being the last vote,
The
and it
last
was
person.
tied. Yeah, it was tied, and
Yeah, but
obviously, in retrospect, he's the person that designed the whole thing. Why did he? Why did he like?
well, he was the deciding factor. It was even between there, and his whole opinion was, well, I don't want to give people that if they don't want it. So since it was 50-50 and he was the last part, like,
But not even that. But it was the fact that I mean, if you want to jump to the end, he's saying that he only did it because he was bored. So if you're bored and you just want to see, you just want some excitement and you want to just be a part of something and you want to see something to excite you, being that you're so fucking rich, you're not gonna send people home just because they don't want to do it. You got them there for a reason. You basically kidnap these people. You know, if you think about it.
but it goes off of that concept. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen that analogy where it's like there's a billionaire in front of you and a person who's mildly rich or
Yeah.
mildly normal in front of you, and the person that doesn't have money looks at the rich person and says, how are you successful? Like, how do you do it? Like, tell me how you're successful.
Okay.
And he passes you a check and says, well, how much money do you want? And you're like, no, I don't want money. I want you to tell me how to be successful. And he says, well, here's a check. Tell me how much money you want. And you're like, no, you don't understand the question. Like, I want you to tell me how I could be like you. And he says, well, you don't let an opportunity pass you. You know, I gave you 2 opportunities to become rich by asking a rich person to give you money, and you passed up 2 opportunities. Like, you could have just been rich if that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
So, like, in that concept, I think that goes with the situation in the film where he's like, he's literally telling these people, look, dude, you're all in a shit situation. Like,
Mhm.
outside of this situation that you're in right now, you're gonna
You're all
die out
fucked.
there, but you're
You're
gonna
all
die on
fucked.
your knees
Yeah,
begging
you're
for
fucked.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, here you can at least die on your feet,
Mhm.
fighting and doing whatever you can to
Giving yourself
you
a
can
shot.
literally make that back and understand the value of it.
Yeah.
Where out there, you're not gonna make that money, you're just gonna die begging.
Yeah.
You know,
And
you're
in
gonna
that aspect, I kind of correlated with Saw to a
yeah,
certain
yeah,
degree.
pretty much. Yeah, it's the same, literally the same story selling as Saul, where
Yeah.
like he's literally trying to get them to understand how to value that money more
Yeah.
rather than just throw it away at the gambling. The situation is all of these people have a gambling problem. Like, they're all addicted to gambling, which is of course shunned down in the Korean or in any type of Asian life. Like,
Mhm.
even in Japan, like they play pachinko,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And even with that, like, they can't give you money. They can only give you like some weird token. You could
Totally.
switch it for a prize, and then you
Mhm.
take that prize and you sell that prize back to a
Sell
company,
it.
and that's how you get your money. So it's like a loophole into the gambling, but it's still a huge problem in Japan.
Mhm.
So you can understand that the gambling in those Asian countries is trying to, like, it's almost like a story to say, hey, like, gambling's wrong. You better watch
Back
out
down on it. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
look at some shit that's gonna
Yeah.
happen to you.
Yeah. Of course.
Uh, but in essence, like, when given the opportunity to make a choice if they wanted to do it or not, like, since half of those people equally did not see a point in doing it because they were scared or they didn't want to die and they would rather go back to their lives, the old man have to be the winning factor, and he doesn't see him as an opportunity. He's not going to be like, well, I'm going to force this concept on you. It was almost the same situation as like almost like how lenient and stern the pink guys were.
Okay.
Like, there's a moment where they're like, the girl comes in and she's like, I need to go pee, and he's like, you can't leave the room. But like, to a certain point, they're very understanding, and they're like, fine, we'll let you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, they're not animals.
Yeah.
Like, they're not treating people like animals. There is still some form of respect there, but only enough to where it's in the litigation of what the story can allow you or the game can allow you.
Yeah, I think for me it was kind of hard to follow exactly the dynamic between the contestants or players and the guards because
Yeah,
in
because
one
dude, they're
in
getting shot almost the same way. Like,
exactly.
no
So
remorse
it's
between any of them.
like everything like the whole setup itself is just it was kind of it was you find yourself trying to understand certain aspects while everything is still
It's
unfolding
still
and
going
going
on.
on. It was really well written, honestly,
Now,
all the way around.
from what I've heard is that this is just the first part to like a story that's they're going to be bringing out. So they're
Now
gonna
I
bring out
heard this. I heard
another
this.
Squid Game.
Do you want
And
another one, or do you want like a one and done?
you know what? As a matter of fact, I think the answer to that question could be said like the ending of this show
Mm-hmm.
was pretty much just through and through as a story. It didn't really give me enough at the ending to really be like, man, I want to know more. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, we saw the guy in the bus or in the train station
on the
again at
train
the end.
station. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you know that the game is still casually going on.
Hmm.
Uh we do understand that there's still what four more rich guys that wear masks, right? That are still like in the background, the rich people.
Yeah,
The old man, of course, has died of old age, and this guy's now a billionaire. And he wants to kind of like, I mean, yeah, it kind of the way it shows it at the end, it shows that he's probably going to try to use his money to take down the other
to take him
organizations or
down. Yeah,
but that's the same concept as him, you know, taking the card of the next guy and calling that organization. He's already given up himself, like
yeah.
letting him know that he wants to kind of like find him again.
I'm on you. Like I'm on your ass.
Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
so now those guys, of course, he's a billionaire. He calls them, they know exactly where he was at the airport. Like
yeah.
they have a million times like heads up on him compared to what he has to do.
The
But like
Asian
even in the
John Wick.
concept of him being an Asian John Wick, he showed no fighting ability and no situation that he was even able to take down a whole organization correctly.
Yeah,
I mean, he even lucked out that the cop showed up.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I
Yo,
mean?
so that was my next thing. What was your thoughts on the cop, just in general? Did you
Smart,
need him? I didn't need him. I didn't
but
need him in that.
he was
In
smart
that.
writing though.
I don't think I needed him in that story though.
I mean, yeah, he wasn't like
He
a
wasn't
necessity,
necessary. Yeah, he
but in
wasn't
the
necessary.
aspect of it, without him, you wouldn't be as intrigued about the pink guys without him. He kind of
Okay,
exposes the story of the pink guys
he
more to where
he
they're
does.
like,
Okay,
you
I'll give
see
you
that
that.
these guys are like, oh, well, they're making money on the side by selling body parts.
Yeah, yeah.
There's like
Okay.
a little bit of turmoil in the organization. You kind of feel like the organization is more of a fraternity
Yeah.
rather than it just being a job that people are just walking into. Like there is a part of me like at the ending of the story, like when he gets killed and his brother's all like,
Super stupid. It was so dumb the way they killed him off. So I will agree with Edgar right there. That was so dumb how they killed him off.
yeah, I mean, but then again, it's like they needed to do that to get it to where the brother was going to be in turmoil. You couldn't have him as serious because then you wouldn't be able to stop him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's super like dedicated to the job. But then when his brother gets killed in front of him and he's kind of like twisted, like you know, he's torn because he knew his brother was out there in some way. But then again,
Yeah.
it's like, why would he care now, dude? His brother went all the way looking for him, and this dude, his brother thought he was dead, and he hadn't been in contact with him, and now he cares. Like you would have thought that he would have been like, dude, well, he's just gonna kill his brother, and he doesn't give a shit because of what he does. It's kind of got him to be that type of person where he just has no heart.
Yeah.
You know, for what he does, you probably think he has no goddamn heart. Like, but then yeah, he shoots his brother, and it kind of like, you know, messes with his head or whatever.
Yeah.
But that
I
would
mean,
mean that he
he
cared
shot
about
him.
his brother.
He shot him in the shoulder. So, like Edgar said, it's still open for him to be alive. But I mean, as far as we know, he's dead. And I don't know. That was very underwhelming for me. Because we're
I think
following.
I know
Listen,
what you mean.
I
That part of the
I don't.
story, it
Yeah,
was very underwhelming.
yeah, I feel like we didn't need that part of the story, but since I'm on this ride anyway, and I'm on this journey, like at least let me get a payoff. And I just thought the payoff just wasn't worth it.
I hope so too, man. I can't remember, but did the brother in black, the one that's the bad guy, did he die or
No,
did he survive?
I think he survived. Yeah,
Yeah, I can't even remember because I after the other brother got shot and it went into the last part, like I kind of just lost interest
yeah,
because I knew that the main dude was gonna win. Like you could see it in the story, like even the whole setup, like of him playing as a kid and him being better than his friend at winning that game.
Chris, I want to ask you a question, and I want to ask anybody that's in the comments right now.
Yeah,
Out
yeah.
of all the games that were played, which one do you think you would have the best shot at winning?
Oh, fuck. Probably red light, green light.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I think out
probably
of all those games, that was the easiest one.
that probably would have been my go-to.
The one that Okay, so when I was watching the movie, when it came to the bridge,
Scary as fuck, dude.
that was like the most fucked up
Scary.
part. But
Scary as
but when I was
fuck.
watching it, I was like, oh, okay. I would just look for the edging because you could see the stacked glass.
Yeah.
When you know it's double plated and all that stuff, you can see like the stacking of the glass, and you can see like a certain thing. So when it did that, I was like, oh, you see, like there you go. Like, look, that guy already knows. He knows what's up. And then but the fucked up part was that then the people that are running the game are like, oh, that guy knows about glass. He has an advantage. Let me turn the lights off.
Yeah.
So that was that. For when that happened, I was this much disappointed in the storytelling. And the reason
Why?
why is
I thought
because
that
they're
was
willing to
amazing.
manipulate the game if it benefits them. So that's when
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and that's because 100% they were like, we're giving you guys the opportunity. If you're good at this game, then you're good at this game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that guy showed that he was good at that part of the game.
Yeah.
But when he showed that he was that part of the game, the rich guy was like, "Oh, well, that sucks. He's good." And the other person was like, "Oh, he's too good. Let me make it more harder." And it's like, wait, so it's not about fair. The old man, if he was alive, which I think he was dead by that time, right?
With the glass
That
bridge, yeah.
what's up?
He was dead by the glass bridge. Time.
Yeah, he that would have been the time that the old man should have jumped in and been like, hey, you can't fuck with the game. Like it's through and through like that. That was the same situation as when they did the part of the game when they put everybody against each other for fighting.
Okay.
Right? Since the guy with the snake tattoo on his face could fight, then they should have fucking had his ass on the ground first. Like the guards should have stopped him because he was already a lot more aggressive than the other guys since he's so used to fighting.
Yeah.
That's his advantage because he could fight outside.
Mm.
You know, since everybody else, like all the dudes that are pencil pushing and the main dude that's like a wuss, like he has no opportunity to fight outside because he's following the law.
Mm.
But it's the same thing. Like that glass dude, like he just knew glass because that was this thing outside the place.
That was his thing.
Yeah,
but it was overlooked. That was, I mean, I think even that little minor detail that they talked about that was overlooked. They went into his bio and went into that shit, and they overlooked it, and they were like, "Fuck, we fucked up."
Yeah,
so
we fucked up.
We fucked up.
I mean, that was kind of like, to me, that was like the Hobbit movie, right?
Okay.
In the Hobbit movie, I was really disappointed with the first movie, and the reason why, because the hobbits, not the hobbits, the dwarves are like, why don't we just go around this forest? You remember when they're going to go into that?
Oh, you said that last week.
That's just continuity. Like that's just like keeping you in that fantasy.
Yeah,
and that's the same thing with this. Like when the movie was like, yo, like one of the guys says, if you fuck with the game, then we will kill you. Like you do not mess with that. It's fair through and through.
Yeah,
and it just so happened like that guy is a glass maker, and he has that knowledge. That is fair because that game wasn't, it wasn't told him that he had to be prepared and study glass.
So is it safe to say that if I were to ask you the question, you and again everybody that's in the comment, the one game you want no parts of, you would say the bridge, right? That would be.
Oh, no part of fuck no, dude. I wouldn't want that.
I would take my chances with the bridge. The one game, well, there's two games that I thought were actually a little bit more threatening than the bridge. And it was the Tug of War.
Mm-hmm.
That one I want no parts of. Because what if you fucked around and picked like the wrong team, and now you're looking at an assuming death? Like the Tug.
Yeah, definitely. Because it doesn't
Tug of
War.
You. Tug of War, I want no parts of.
Yeah,
and then the little tracing game with the honey shit. That my hands. I'm not good with my hands like that. So I would fuck up.
That's just like I would have done the licking thing too.
But listen, I wouldn't have known to start licking the shit. Had people that died during that.
I can get that, yeah. Like those things are like, yeah, it's very, very like specific to those to those niche things.
But not only that, but like you had to be, it had to have been the luck of the draw for you to get the triangle. Because if you didn't get the triangle,
or the easier shapes and stuff,
you were fucked. The star, you were fucked. I would have been fucked.
Umbrella, you're super fucked, dude.
Yeah,
all the intricate pieces were just so crazy.
I would have been fucked.
You know what kind of upsets me about that? I was talking to my friends from we all went to go represent the Harlingen Fan Convention a couple of days ago, and in the process of it, we were talking about that moment. And the thing that makes me mad is, so the sugar cookie thing or the honey cookie thing, has been this treat that they've sold in those countries for a very, very long time.
Yeah,
but they're sold by a lot of people who are in the underprivileged or like the low class, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
And
And they showed
now,
that. They actually showed that
yeah,
in
in the
the
beginning when the
show.
kids were playing in the thing, it's just like
Yeah,
a
they
normal
showed
thing,
that.
right?
Yeah, they
Like
showed it.
and right now you have like all of these people like that do like YouTube videos and like cooking channels and all of this shit. They're out there making millions of dollars showing people how to make a sugar cookie that these people that have been underprivileged have been doing just to kind of make pennies.
Yeah.
And man, dude, when I was like watching videos the other day, I was like, man, you fucking people, you're like piranhas, man. Like the moment they get something that they can bite into, like they'll rip that shit away from everybody.
Yeah.
I was real
Edgar
disappointed with that.
Edgar is 1000% correct. When that sugar game shit happened, that was the first time I knew that guy wasn't shit because he knew what game was going to be played. And then not only that, but the main character, he knew that he got lied to by the other guy
Oh, he
and
felt it,
didn't say
right?
yeah, and didn't say anything. He just
Yeah.
brushed it off like, you know what, maybe I'm bugging. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
bugging.
maybe I'm
But
overthinking it or something.
yeah, but you knew that he knew.
Yeah, that guy was a little low down, man.
He was a fucking
And that's
asshole.
really sad to know because I like throughout the story, like they had been best friends for so long. You
Yeah.
know, the main character was kind of like pumping him up, you know, had his back, talked a good game for him, always boasted about him and being
Always
all
had his
cool and
back.
shit.
Yeah, always,
Yeah,
yeah, always
dude.
had
And
his
then this
back,
guy was
trying to
like
check up on him.
instantly just fuck him over.
He's a dickhead,
But
yeah.
yeah, I guess that's the concept of like these type of films is they kind of show the people in that culture, like what money does to you. You
Yeah.
know? Overall, man, scale 1 out of 10. What would you say about the
Oh,
Hunger
I'm
Games?
giving it I'm giving it a 10.
Straight up.
And that's even with me saying that I didn't find it as strong as other people put it over, but it's still a solid fucking show. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
give
think
I'll give
I'm gonna be in the same boat. I'm gonna be super laxed. A 9.5, 10 out of 10.
yeah.
9.5 being that I think the ending was
Yeah,
kind
you
of
know what?
lackluster.
You know what? I'll give it I'll you know what? I will scale back. I'll give it like a 9.8. Only
Yeah,
off
there's
of
a
the
there's a
fact
little
of the
part of me
ending.
that's like, you know what, like
The ending kind of fucked me up a
when the
little
whole
bit.
reveal happened, I wanted it to be like, okay, like it sounds really stupid, right? But like I wanted it to be like, yes, it's the old man, and he's in his deathbed, like the way it goes. But I wanted him to come out and be like, yo, I'm your grandfather
Yeah.
or whatever, because there was always this talk about him talking about his wife
Yeah.
and always mentioning that he reminded him of his grandson
Mhm.
or his nephew or something like that. He reminded him of someone in his family that him, the main character, reminded him of something.
Yeah.
And then the other one was like the old man was always talking about his wife.
Mhm.
Like, and he was always mentioning like, oh, my wife did the same thing when the guy would do something because his grandma would do it or his mom would do it.
Yeah.
And the mom was, of course, like she was single in the
Mhm.
story, the lady that was taking care of him at the beginning of the movie, the one that's dying or whatever, she has cancer
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of wanted that to be something like I wanted it to be like that there was like a relation between them.
Mm.
But then when it was more of like, hey man, well, I'm just a billionaire who's bored and you just seemed like a cool cat or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
I was kind of disappointed in that. My favorite part of the whole show, which it might not seem like much to other people, but for me, was when the main character had been cheating the old guy in the marble game the entire time, and then at the very end,
the old
he
man
goes,
says,
the old man says, "Yeah, let's play one last time, but for everything." And he was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I have all the fucking marbles." Like, dude, you've been fucking cheating me this
you've been
entire
cheating me the
time.
whole time.
I was like, "You son of a bitch!" I popped. I was like, "Yes!" Like, this is fucking amazing to
Yeah,
me.
I thought that was really good. I mean,
That
you
was
could kind of
awesome.
tell that
That
the
was
old man
awesome.
was playing him out.
Yeah, yo,
You could
it's
tell
like,
at the beginning, like the old man was playing that whole like what number were we on or whatever. Like you could tell he was playing him. And for him not to realize that and for him to dick the old man like that, I'm glad the old man kind of came back at the end. Like I
yeah,
was really happy that the old man was like, "Well, fine, dude. I didn't know you were gonna be like that, but since you're gonna kind of connive me like that because you're taking advantage of me, let's do it. You're not playing fair."
and then like the only thing I didn't understand about the end is like the guy, the main character, he goes, I need to know why. I need to know why." And then the old man says, "Well, I'll have one more game with you.
Yeah, I
If
hated that.
if somebody helps this guy on the street, I'll tell you why." But he told him why anyway. He
Yeah,
basically told
I
him
didn't
why
like that
anyway.
part either.
Like he didn't need to. I mean, that part I didn't understand. That whole last part I wasn't really cool with, but I'm not gonna let it take away from everything else. So
Yeah, I mean, the concept is the old man was trying to tell him that he was doing a justice for all of these people he's murdered, and the reason why it's a justice is because he's letting them get their money, but they have to do something for it.
yeah,
And he's trying to say because no one wants to help anymore. No one is willing to let the hand, and that's why he's like, "Look, I'll tell you something. If if that guy down there dies in the snow, I'm not going to tell you.
mm,
But if someone helps him, I'll tell you everything you want to know."
mm.
And in that process, like you said, like he literally tells him exactly what it is.
He tells him,
But that whole entire like stick of betting was exactly what it was he was trying to justify the idea that he's like, you know what, even though you may think I'm wrong, I'm doing a justice.
yeah,
I'm helping these people out. Like even in the concept of like when they gave up the idea of giving up the game, he said, if you guys decide to go home, then I'll pay all the people that have died already. Like I'll take care of their families.
yeah.
I wonder if he did,
Well, we
because they
would
all
never
came
know.
back and the money was still there.
Yeah,
But then
but
again,
I guess he knew. I
you know what I
mean,
mean, right?
yeah, he knew.
But
Yeah,
then
yeah,
again,
I know.
the thing is we don't know what happens outside with the fraternity or whatever you want to call it, because if that's the concept and they all quit and he pays the families that have died, do they pay the families some kind of tuition if all of them die, like in the other part of the game? Like all the people that had died later in the second half of the game, did they
Y-
give those people money too
No, I think the only way that the families were going to get paid out is if everyone elected to go home.
to go home?
Yeah,
But then
which
again, like,
which was stupid for the main character to even bring that up at the end. Like, I get it, you want to save your friend, but you just went through all that, bro. Like,
yeah, you
listen,
already went through some shit.
you already went through some shit.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Did you find it weird that he didn't spend any of the money?
No, I don't find that weird.
You kind of duck like you understood it.
I understood it because like at first he's gonna feel like that money's dirty.
Fuck
Like, how
that,
are you
bro.
gonna spend the money when like
I
the
just went
the
through hell. I'm
yeah, you just
spending
went
that
through
fucking
hell to
money.
get that money and you're not gonna want to spend it. You're gonna want to give it away. You're gonna want to help everybody else you've known in your life
That's
that has
fine.
suffered.
Then give it away, but don't just have it
Yeah,
sitting there. Like
yeah, but you're not gonna want to like spend it and go on vacations and shit like that.
I
You're
would
gonna
have, I'd have,
It's
though
gonna be depressing, dude.
I'd have went straight to Jamaica. My black ass would have been on the sand somewhere, drinking a pina colada.
I don't know, man. I don't think I would have been able to do it either, man. I would have been super bummed out,
Nah,
man.
I might have been bummed out for about a week, and then I'd
Yeah.
have been like, you know what, I'm good, yo.
You're gonna feel sad driving a Ferrari and shit.
Yeah, yeah, bro. That Ferrari made me feel way better about my current situation.
That's fucking funny, man. Yeah, I don't think me personally, I don't think I'd be able to be all happy about spending that money, man. Fuck pina
Fuck
coladas,
pina
man.
coladas.
That's gotta be triggered, dude.
Yeah, no, that was the first drink I thought of that just made me sound pretentious and shit like that. Like I would have just had some annoying drink with an umbrella, in the sand, just getting wasted, thinking about the bullshit I just went through. I would have
Yeah, I
spent
don't
that fucking money, bro.
I had this idea, right? Like when you asked me that, like, yeah, I don't think I do understand where the guy comes from, where he just kind of like, I mean, yeah, he was gonna spend money because he was gonna take off to visit his daughter and all of that stuff, right? Yeah, he dyed his hair, dude. Yeah, that was how are you gonna spend your money? Well, I'm gonna dye my hair and try to
I'm
look
gonna
a little
dye my
cooler and
hair and
shit.
just yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
We
yeah,
all deal
man.
with shit differently.
Well, I mean, he's gonna spend that money either way. He's gonna try to
I'd
go
have
after
been in
the
the
organization.
Caribbean.
I don't really have a desire to want to see a part two, man.
Yeah, neither do I. I think, and I had this conversation with people that I had at my job. What's up, Triggs?
What's going on,
Um,
Tricks?
I don't need a part two. This was
Yeah,
a
I don't.
clean one and done. I'm good. You had the arc, you had the start, middle, ending. I don't need another one. I'm good.
Yeah, I really don't see a reason. And then like there's always this concept of like spin-offs and
Yeah,
all this crazy stuff. I think for what it's worth, the film did very well. I think it gave us a definitive story. Kind of left us with a little bit of an open-ended kind of ending, but not enough to really be like, man, I want to see this guy go after this group or whatever.
yeah.
Like it was just like,
That's gonna
oh,
be a little bit too much for
we're
me.
gonna try to go do some revenge stuff. For what it's worth, I would like to see maybe a story if they do a part two, but more on the sense of like the cop part.
Okay.
like them going
Like
deeper
he
into the
survived or
organization.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see another story about people trying to survive. I
Yeah.
want to see them. I want to see like there is a game going on,
Mhm.
but like what the cop was
But,
doing, where
like,
he
in the
was like,
background. Yeah, it's
yeah,
like the background
like I want to
madness
see
going
them
on.
do
Yeah.
like where the cop part is the major part story.
Yeah.
I would like to see that. Like I would like to see that.
If you do give me a like a second season and you do focus on the games, you're gonna have to come with some like some really good games, some
Yeah,
really
and the other thing too is like
some
I'd like for
creative
them to
shit.
take it international.
Okay.
So we noticed that the rich guys were all like white dudes,
Yeah, yeah.
and some of them are from America,
Americans, yeah,
some of them sounded
Americans or
German. Like
yeah, yeah.
that opportunity to kind of like take it around the world, like that would be cool. And from what we've heard that Netflix wants to do its own rendition of the Squid Games.
Of course they do.
So, which I think is garbage. I think they should leave it as is,
I
and they
told
should
you, don't
invest
touch
into
it.
the company,
Yeah,
and if it like help them grow their stuff.
exactly.
So I think that's what they should do. So maybe
Yeah, because
Netflix does the right thing,
the creator was
invest in
like
the studio, and they get to go and do stories all around the world with it.
the
Yeah, you
creator
see the
was
story on the black market with the organs, like that kind of stuff. That's an interesting story. That
but
is a very
it's been done though. That's been done.
well. I mean, the concept's
Hospital,
been done in the first film, right? Like the first arc, it talks about the organs, but
yeah.
who, who's this guy selling to? Like,
Okay.
how did they get it? How did they get involved? Like, okay, so first off, who are these guys in the pink suits, and why do they have connections to the black market?
Yeah,
Why was one of the guys in the pink suit a kid? Like, you know what I mean? Like, those kind of things are really important to the
yeah,
storytelling. But since those people are not the main characters, they're not important to talk about. You
sure.
know what I mean? How is it that the older brother? Okay, so question: could some of these people that are in the pink suits be prior winners of the game?
I don't
Because
think so.
that's the way the brother was, or could they
I don't
be?
think so.
Could they have been people who were in the game, did not die, but were given the opportunity to work for him?
I don't think so. I don't you know, that's a really good question because you don't actually know when the game actually started. Like
Yeah.
you're led to believe this is like the first time, but it's probably not.
Well, I
Um,
mean, the major question that we got out of that was, how did the brother get to that position if he was invited?
and not only that, but the brother was, if you remember, he was what, a college kid or
Yeah, he
like
wasn't rich.
living in like a one bedroom apartment in some shitty ran
He was
down
probably
place.
the way it happened is the cop guy says he literally was given the same way. The brother was given a card and he went for the game.
Mm,
But how did he get the opportunity to be that?
he
See,
was a
Edgar
winner.
says he was a winner.
Maybe.
But if he was a winner,
Now
then why was
there,
he in a
that
servant position?
that is your second season right there.
It could be,
That's
maybe
your
it could be
second
about him.
season. If it's about him and about how there was a game prior
Mhm.
or years prior, this wasn't the first game, there was years prior, that is where your second story is right there. Boom.
I mean, if he was
They
the
need to hire
first
you as
winner,
a as a creator for that
yeah,
right
man, I'll
there.
jump on that shit. I'll be a writer, dude.
You just made it for him right there.
Yeah,
That is where your story is.
my idea would be the second season would be that guy slowly coming to terms with the idea that he killed his brother, and then him trying to say, you know what, like I think I've done wrong. I can't believe I've gone this far. And then him realizing that this guy from the first movie is trying to take down the organization, and he allows him to come back in a way. Like
I'm
he
thinking
allows
more
him to
like
be a bitter,
I'm
like
thinking
in
more
the
like
game.
I'm thinking more like prequel. Like a
Yeah, like a
prequel.
prequel. Oh, prequel would
Like
work too.
like we go like again, we find out that this game that we witness is not the first one.
Okay.
Like we're led to believe because it's the first one that we've seen, it's the first one.
Yeah.
But we go into a prequel to realize that no, this has been going on for a while.
Oh, well,
And
I
that
mean,
this guy in the black mask was actually like the first winner or one of the first winners. And that's the reason why he got the position that he got in.
that is that.
And we can see that transition. That would
So
be dope.
for me watching the film, I didn't think this was the first game.
I
And
thought it was. I mean, I
yeah,
actually never thought about it, but
I actually didn't think because of the fact that later on when the rich guys all show up, like they're all just normal and casual. Like they were just so comfortable with what like you already being there. They already knew what to expect.
okay.
And they were even talking about like, oh, this thing again. Like there was a very casual essence to them already knowing what the game was about.
Oh, see,
So you kind of knew that they
I'm
were
not
like
my bad.
that's the idea. They're experienced hunters.
Okay.
So like them being in that essence wasn't new. You know, they already knew what to expect. They showed
Okay.
up. They knew exactly what to do. So you kind of got the like. Well, I kind of got the gist that this was like a seasonal occurrence.
Okay.
They do this like once a year. They meet up and they host this, but one of the rich guys hosts it. And that's why I'm saying, like, okay, cool. Like this guy in the black mask, he got put in this position not because he won a game. Because of course, like if you win the game, you're kind of like in the other guy's situation where you just murdered a bunch of people. You're probably not in the sound mind unless you're a psychopath, which
Which a lot of the people in the game were.
yeah, in the movies, these type of movies, the psychopath, you never let them mingle with the rich people because the rich people never get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
So the moment you put the psychopath alongside the rich people, he's going to start assaulting all the rich people. So they're not going to risk having a psychopath amongst them because they want to be the lions in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that's why I don't think the guy in the black is a person of a previous winning thing.
Okay.
I think he's more in the sense like he was chosen like to be the servant.
Yeah.
By the old man as the successor or whatever.
Okay.
But the true successor that's going to get his money is the guy who won the game.
Who won the game?
You know what I mean? So I mean that's just my opinion on it. I mean I could be wrong. I could be writing it different. I just feel like since it's already been like a previous situation, like that guy probably wasn't a winner.
Yeah.
Because why would he go and dedicate his entire life and not tell his brother he won all this money and go back to living a normal life?
Yeah.
Why would he just serve?
I kind of felt as though like it was. I got the feeling that it was like the first ever because again the guy in the black mask, the brother in the black mask, he was just at that point being questioned as to where he was. It wasn't like he had been gone for a long time. Like he had just recently been missing and he hasn't been paying his rent or whatever. And that's why
I can't remember how long he had been missing.
Yeah, it wasn't like he had been doing this for years or whatever. Like he had just been recently missing. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, listen, if they do give me a second season, just make it worth my while. I'm gonna watch it. I'm talking shit. Like I don't need.
Yeah,
it.
we're gonna give it attention because the first season was good.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, the first mini arc was really, really great. Yeah. Yeah, but straight up 10 out of 10. I give it a 10 out of 10. I recommend it. If you guys haven't seen it out there in Radio Land, make sure you guys get a chance to go out there, watch the Squid Games. You know, hit us up in the comments and tell us what you think.
It's an easy watch.
Yeah. And on to the next part of our conversation. Okay, so speaking about the Netflix idea and them coming up with a second story, we came up with the idea at the very end saying, well, you know what? Like, I don't really think like they should go on and do this because it's pretty definitive ending. But of course they probably will. But this goes off of the idea of thinking, and well, not Endgame, but WandaVision. So WandaVision, now there is a rumor that they are going to be giving Agatha Harkness a spin-off show.
Confirmed, baby. That's confirmed, baby.
So Agatha Harkness, the character that came out in WandaVision, which was the villain, I guess, in that show, is going to get a spin-off show.
Yes.
What do you feel about that, and what do you think?
I love it. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it for the fact that I don't think after the next couple of movies where we see Wanda that we're going to see her for a while. So I think that in order to keep that storyline going, you're going to have to do something. So the continuation of the Agatha Harkness story can actually help in that space.
Okay.
So I'm all for it.
Okay, so for me, I am on the opposite side.
Okay.
I think for what it's worth that the character got enough not screen time, because I think they're going to end up using her in Doctor Strange too. But I don't think that her character is an important enough character for her to get an entire season or entire spinoff.
But we don't know anything about her though.
And I was like, I do.
No, you do. But the average normie or whatever you want to call them, or the average person that was just watching WandaVision, they don't know her backstory. You got like a snippet of it in like one episode. but you don't really know what she's really about, what motivates her. We don't know any of that shit.
It's
And that combined with Catherine Hahn's
performance.
rendition,
Yeah, her
performance,
performance.
that's you can't I'm all for it. Send it, ship it.
I guess the concept is okay. So we look at the comic books, right?
Yeah.
And in the comic books, Agatha Harkness was, of course, the nanny of the children.
She was a nanny.
Yeah,
Basically, that's
she,
what she
well,
was. She
no,
was
no,
a
no, she
nanny.
wasn't just a nanny because she was also like a teacher of the arts when it came to Wanda,
Okay.
right? She had a really good understanding when it came to the magic, like her knowledge of the comics, her knowledge of magic in the comics.
Mhm.
It really was something to fear because it really did. When she wanted to be the villain, she could be the villain. And when she wanted to fight against Doctor Strange, she could put up with Doctor Strange. Like it's just what she is. Um, but her character never really had like major story arcs.
Okay.
Like not enough to be like, hey, you know what? Like here's Agatha Harkness's arc where she fights Doctor Strange for 17 comics and almost ends the world and you know she's not really a major player. This is the equivalence of them giving Jimmy Wong or what's that one dude from Ant-Man, the Asian guy that came out in the WandaVision movie or TV show, the cop.
Oh,
It's like
yeah,
them
yeah,
giving
yeah.
him a
Yeah.
spinoff.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
why don't they just give him or Darcy a spinoff too? Like what I kind of feel like they're just giving a bunch of
That's
random ass
I
people
don't
spinoffs
think
for no
no,
reason.
I don't think you can compare that. I think this is correct. I think and I get what you're saying. I kind of get what you're saying, but and again, there's just a lot of things that are going into this that just make sense. So as of right now, Disneyland has like their Halloween thing going on, and it's like a after dark Halloween
Mm-hmm,
thing at
for sure.
Disneyland, and one of the main attractions is Agatha, and it's
Is
getting
she
a
really?
lot of yeah,
Oh, wow.
and it's getting a lot of like
Attention.
response, attention.
Great
So
shit.
like there's money there. And the one thing you know about Disney,
Oh yeah, dude. Well, I
they're
mean,
gonna go
yeah,
for the
that's the
money.
case. Then
They're
I
gonna
could
go
see
for the money.
that being a reason why. It's just that me myself, even as a person that just watch, like if I didn't read comic books,
Mhm.
like I would question to be like, well, I mean, why though? Like I could see money being the reason,
Yeah.
but I can't see any other reason as to why they would just give her a spinoff. Like, I mean, if you look at the shorts that they used to do, they did a bunch of shorts a while back with like Agent Coulson,
Mhm.
and they even did one with that dude that played the Mandarin.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did like these little one-offs, right? But they were like small short snippets, maybe like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Just kind of do something and kind of throw it out there and have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
Those were pretty cool because it just gave us a little bit of flavor, right?
Mhm.
But like the magic parts of the Marvel universe, there's a lot of up and downs. There's a lot of up and downs, but then again, it doesn't portray as well as it does in comics that it does in film. In film, it portrays very well.
Yeah.
In comics, it's just you don't compare magic with superpowers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Constantine does very well, but he's in the DC universe. Doctor Strange just does magic. Like it's just a weird. I don't know. It's a very weird thing.
Yeah.
It's just a very weird thing.
I honestly think that it would be doing Disney a huge favor to themselves to give her her own standalone, because then you have a great actress like Catherine Hahn. Just you could put her anywhere in any movie and it works. And then you're gonna have the kids that come back at some point. We're probably gonna see them as older kids at some point. They you can easily interweave a storyline with them and Catherine if you don't have access to Vision and Wanda. Like it would honestly, it just makes sense to me.
I mean, the payout
Combined with
of
the
it is
money and
probably
all
not
that
going to
shit.
be as much. I mean, they're not going to
Maybe,
have to pay her at.
but you don't need to. But the payoff itself is that you have Catherine Hahn doing it. So like that's the payoff.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna take this obscure character that that watchers like yourself may not be interested or understand why, but then Catherine Hahn is the reason why you're gonna understand why. She's gonna make you
Want to
wanna
watch it?
wanna watch it
Yeah, I
and
want
be
to watch it.
invested in
Now
it.
the other thing is at the very end of the WandaVision, she's laying on the ground and she says, "You don't know what you're about to unleash. You don't know what we're holding back or whatever." Um, that's the only part that really catches me when it comes to her having her own side story. because the question is, okay, for all, we're going to get into it in a little bit about this, but like for all the rumors we're hearing right now about all this stuff that's coming out in Doctor Strange 2,
Yeah.
like her involvement
Wanda.
seems to be no, Agatha Harkness.
Agatha. Okay.
Agatha's involvement seems to be a pretty big thing, right? Because that left a lot of open-ended questions with the whole idea of like, well, what does she mean by that? Wanda's going to leave her in this place, but she has a job to do. What's her job? What was she doing in the first place? Like, what kind of magic was she holding back? What was she protecting the world from? There's a lot of questions to be asked. So, rumor was the Shumagorath story, or the Mephisto story, or the Nightmare story.
All of it. Yeah.
Right. All of those are just rumors. I'm going to say
floating
rumors
around. Yeah.
because we don't know what it is yet. And the thing is
And honestly, before you go on, I think they're all true. I just
In a
think
way.
I just think we're all wrong about when we're gonna get those. I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see all of those characters. Maybe not Nightmare, because that's gonna be a hard fucking sell. But I think
I really think that Nightmare was the original villain. And I think that after the concept of the audience and the regular community hearing that Nightmare was going to be the villain and not Mephisto, I think Disney decided to be like, wait a minute, let's pull it back.
Yeah.
Maybe Nightmare's not good enough. Maybe we should just go with Mephisto.
Yeah.
Originally, they were going to use Mephisto.
I do think we're going to see all of those villains. I just think we were wrong about when we were going to get them. Yeah.
So my thing is, from the very beginning, I thought Nightmare was a shit choice. And my thing was, he's a good fear lord. And he sits on the same aisle as the dark one, or what's the one that they just did in Shang-Chi?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that random character, he sits about the same level as Nightmare.
Okay.
But the concept is Nightmare once raped She-Hulk. No, was it She-Hulk? Yeah, he raped She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. You
can't get away from that when it comes to this cancer culture shit. Like, you can't. The moment people start finding out about that shit, they're gonna be like, wait a minute. There's a comic book where this dude raped someone in their sleep. Like, why are they giving this guy the time of day?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why nobody likes Hank Pym's Ant-Man. That's why they decided to make him the old man and not make him Ant-Man. You know that, right? Because he once slapped his wife in the comic books. Hank Pym.
Really?
Yeah, he's a wife beater. Yeah, so like
that's why the reason why they went to.
Yeah, that's why they went with Scott. Yeah, that's why they went with Scott. They didn't go with Hank. So yeah, because he beat his wife in the comic book because she didn't like fold his clothes or something about a sandwich, or it was one of those like super random.
It was something about a sandwich.
Yes, dude.
She
I'm
didn't
not
make
even
the
kidding.
sandwich.
Like, it's super basic, dude. Super basic,
God.
like super easy storytelling when it comes to like an abusive relationship. And it was really, really bad. Like even to now, like they still reference it in the comic books. The last time I saw a reference was in Civil War II, Captain Hydra, roughly around that story where Iron Man's like, well, I guess it's not as easy as beating your wife, huh, Hank? And then he goes crazy. So like, yeah, they never let it down. And it's like one of like the most sustained parts in comic book history.
Really?
Yeah. So like, that's the other thing is like Nightmare situation isn't far-fetched from that.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, my biggest thing had been the villain is probably going to be Shumagorath.
Okay. For Doctor Strange 2.
Doctor Strange 2.
Okay.
And this is why, like, I know we were talking about this, and I know you've mentioned it several times before, that you 100% think Wanda's going to be the main villain.
Not 100%, 1,000%.
1,000% that Wanda's going to be the main villain. I don't think she's going to be the main villain. What I think she's going to be is I think she's going to be the cause that the villain is able to get the upper hand.
I think what they're going to do is they're going to take the wave and the emotions that people have for Wanda coming off of the series, the WandaVision series, because that was a very emotional series. That was like you're watching Wanda go through it. They're going to take that, they're going to ball it up, and they're going to just throw it right away. And then they're going to just completely make her a villain. They're going to make her go insane, make her a villain. And then you're going to be sitting there like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I honestly think that they are going to just take that emotion that we have right now and exploit it. and just hit you or try to blind. They're gonna blindside me because I'm telling you right now, she's going to be the villain of this movie. But they're going to blindside a lot of people by thinking that this movie is going to be where she's working in conjunction with Doctor Strange. I don't see that at all. I think that with the Darkhold, and I think that with her just going deeper and deeper into the Darkhold and her obsession with getting these kids back, she's not going to care about her relationship with Doctor Strange. She's not going to care about her relationship with any other Avenger besides getting these kids back and going deeper and deeper into the Darkhold. She's going to be the villain. She's going to be the villain.
Shout out to my friend Big John Castillo from Corpus Christi. He asks, so if Nightmare or Mephisto or Blackheart, which is the son of Mephisto, show up, do both of you think Ghost Rider will show up in the series or in the movie? So from what I've heard rumor wise is Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider is supposed to make an appearance in Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange too. Yeah.
Would it be cool? I think any one of the Ghost Riders would be strange. It would be awesome to have them come in. I think this is going to be a really big like tip of the hat to a lot of the Fox franchises.
Epic.
A lot of the Fox franchises.
This movie, we talked about it a little bit earlier today. I'm more excited for Doctor Strange 2
than Spider-Man.
Yeah,
me too.
Doctor Strange 2 is going to blow the lid off of everything.
I 100% agree. I really think that they're going to be pulling a lot of strings for this movie, and I think it's going to be at the the Endgame Infinity War level.
Yeah,
like,
it's going to be epic. That movie is going to
I really think it's going to be that way. But like going off of that idea, I do think we're going to see at least Ghost Rider in some way. I do think we're going to see like some mention of Blade in some way. If it not be Blade, it's going to be like Dracula reference or something like that. It's going to be a lot of like the Hellfire mysteries. There's going to be a lot of cool shit that I think is going to pop off, which I'm super excited for. But going back, because I don't want to get off subject, because this is where it's going to get really tight, right? We have to be focused on this.
Okay.
So the reason why I think that Shuma Gorath is going to be the villain is because Doctor Strange, like even though Wanda's powers are cool, like with the way it did it in the WandaVision show.
Yep.
If there's anything that Disney does, is it doesn't correlate the shows to the movies very well. So in no iteration has like one of the shows had really any effect on the Marvel universe. Like sometimes you get references to it, like in the Defender shows.
Okay.
And we don't have a lot of like representation of how it kind of fixates from like the Loki show into a movie or the WandaVision show into a movie, because none of the movies have really come out since then. The only one has been this Black Widow, but that's a pre-movie from the other first phases compared to this one, right? But so the idea of, like you said, like a lot of people are coming off the toes of Wanda, doing that to that city or whatnot, and this and that. If it was a big thing, they would have sent the Avengers. Like, again, like I know this goes off of the idea of like, well, Disney's not going to pay an actor to come in for 5 seconds and tell Wanda to stop and come down and stop doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing is it made national news and it was still going on.
Well,
it was an altering event and a world altering event. Like that power that she was like pushing out probably had never been seen before in the Marvel universe.
But don't confuse it though. That was their plan, was to get an Avenger to come in and try to.
Oh no, I'm not. That's not my plan. That's
no. They wanted Doctor Strange to be in WandaVision. It just didn't work out for whatever reason that happened.
Yeah, because they realized they weren't going to be able to pay Cumberbatch to come on the show, so they had to write it in a weirder way. But this is like the same thing as when like a Dark Age, right? The Thor movie came out, right? And the Dark Elves came to the Earth and they got an Infinity Stone and they were doing all this shit. A world-ending event with all the fucking universes and 9 realms, and that's some really big shit to be going on for like not the Avengers to show up.
I'm kind of concerned. So let's say that I subscribe to your theory, and you think that Shuma Gorath is going to be the villain, right? My concern is that they're kind of nerfing him with the what if series.
Well, I mean,
Like,
technically no, because his tentacles gave Doctor Strange that power.
all right, so we've already seen it. We know that he can be. Now, this is supposed to be like a god level
Yeah,
entity, right?
but
Like
he's an
he's like
in-betweener, right?
okay,
He's at God level in between the universes,
okay,
but he doesn't have a way into the universe. He needs an avatar.
okay.
You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah,
makes
no,
sense?
no, I do understand what you're saying. I just all right. So I guess if I'm looking at it from Disney's perspective, so on one hand, let's say you take my theory, you take your theory, and we're gonna stack them against each other,
Yeah.
right? So you can either have Shuma Gorath, who is an unknown, let's just say for the normies out there, he's an unknown character that you're gonna have to spend some time in Doctor Strange 2 to try to explain where he's from, what he's about, how powerful he is, and how he correlates in this packed movie where you're gonna introduce mutants, you're gonna introduce supernatural fucking beings, and you're gonna have to do all this shit, or you can just take Wanda, who is an established person. You just had her own show that explains to you where her mental state is, and then you correlate her. I'm just saying, I don't know, man.
Well,
I don't
you have
know.
to remember at the
Or
end of
and then not only that, but then being that we just saw Shuma Gorath being used
Mhm.
by multiple, not by multiple, by one, but by one person
Yeah, twice.
twice, you can have Wanda use Shuma Gorath as her doing her bidding or
Well,
getting into a fight on
this
behalf
goes
of
off of what
her.
we were talking about. This goes off like literally because just like they did in Shang-Chi when the Forsaken one or the darker one or the darkness or whatever they called that villain or whatever, the void
Mhm.
or whatever he was, how he was able to manipulate the Mandarin, right?
Yep.
By just talking to him or relating to him. You could tell that these kind of people, like, even though they're trapped behind walls or things, they can manipulate people. So right now we know that Wanda's on a hunt to find her children.
Yep.
We know that Shuma Gorath is equivalent to Dormammu, right?
Yeah.
And when we heard that Dormammu was going to come out in Stephen Strange's film, we were like, how the fuck are they going to do that?
Yeah.
And they did it with no action. There was like zero to no fight scene or nothing. He did it
Yep.
by bargaining, which if they do a bargain in this film, I'm gonna fucking be super disappointed. I want to see some shit. Like
I
I
don't
want
think
to
they're
see
gonna.
some shit.
Yeah,
And
I
the
don't think
thing is if you have a villain like Shuma Gorath, the easiest interesting writing you could do is you can make him like a Galactus.
okay.
And what he's doing is he's going multidimensionally and destroying planets like the way the incursion was happening.
Okay.
Right? He's going around and he's destroying different multiverses because now, since Loki in the show started the multiverse, now you have too many, and nature naturally finds a way to balance itself out again. So it
Mhm.
brings in its Galactuses, it brings in its Suma Goraths, and they start destroying the multiverses from the outside in. So
Yep.
they have food to eat, right?
Mhm.
But in that process, you can have it to where not Captain Marvel, America Chavez's story is her planet Utopia gets destroyed by some thing, and that's how she leaves that Utopia. Her parents, her mother and mother save her by sending her off planet like Superman.
Yep.
They send her into another dimension, and then she can't find her way back home. But that's because it's being destroyed by something. You can easily say that Shuma Gorath was the one destroying her planet. Her parents sent her off, and now Captain America Chavez is out there trying to find and fight Shuma Gorath. And she's on that hunt because Wanda is tying into Shuma Gorath's power. And then when she's like unlocking it because Shuma Gorath is being like, well, I'm your kids. I'm making the sounds of your children.
Mhm.
Like she gets there, opens the portal, and America Chavez shows up, and she's like, what did you do? You release Shuma Gorath, and then boom, Shuma Gorath shows up. Now, Shuma Gorath is very similar to the Avatar, like Darkseid in the DC universe.
Yep.
Where the body that you see of Darkseid is not the true essence of Darkseid. That's just an avatar of him because his power is way bigger. There is a prime Darkseid, and he's way stronger than all of those. So that's the concept. It's very weird when you don't read the comic books for me to explain it that way because you're kind of like, what does that even mean? Like, what do you mean there's a prime?
No, I mean I get
there's a
it.
constant, but at that constant, there is a main version of him that's like stronger than all of them all combined.
Yeah.
And if you bring
I
all of them together, it's even stronger.
Yeah.
So like Shuma Gorath is the same way in that essence. Um, but the concept is like, okay, like a lot of people are like, Wanda's going to be the villain because she's looking for her kids and all this other stuff. But where does that put Loki and Kang? Because they're
That's a
supposed to be in
totally,
essence in the show.
but that's a totally different. That's a
No,
totally
Loki's
different.
Loki's going to come out in Doctor Strange too.
I don't know about that.
No, he is. No, he
Maybe.
is.
And even if he does, I mean, it doesn't really speak to the fact on what that has to do with Wanda. Like, I think that's the beauty of this is that like Wanda is on a mission, right? She's on a mission. There's no one that's really going to stop her from this mission besides Doctor Strange. So right then and there, you have the correlation with Doctor Strange, which
So
puts her in,
there has
the
been a lot of leaks recently about like how this movie is going to come out.
okay.
And one of them, of course, the one that we've all heard that's like a truth is that someone's supposed to come from the Fox universe,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, to make Wanda the villain right now,
Before you even continue, before you even continue, just stop and just think about what you just said.
Mhm.
She is going to be so out of control that another person, a mutant, let alone from a whole nother universe, is going to get dragged into this. Just put that in perspective on how big this is going to be. You say that she's going to be insane and just look at it from like I don't want to say a minuscule level, but that is like epic shit that's
proportion, yeah.
happening.
The
Like
crossing of the franchises.
that means all hands on deck. She is a problem. Like she is causing havoc across multiple realities. She is going to be a huge, huge problem.
Now,
And then not only that, but if you want to take it deeper into the rumors that the one said, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone that's listening, but the one said mutant that I know is damn near guaranteed to be in this movie, she kills him.
what,
She gets him the fuck up out of here.
you talking about Xavier?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I
So it's
wouldn't say
like,
it kills him.
or at least incapacitates
That's
him.
that's what they've talked about, right? That's kind of like the rumor is that she's going to kill him. But this goes off of the idea, and this is where I always tell people like this is going to make it or break it, because this is what happened to the Hulk, and the Hulk is in a shit situation right now in the movies.
Yeah.
They can't really do anything with him because he's really got nothing left.
True.
They've neutered the Hulk story by taking away World War Hulk and Planet Hulk.
Mhm.
They can't visit that anymore because they've went past that story and they ruined it and gave it to somebody else. Wanda is a very popular character, not because of the kids. It's because of the story that involves the kids.
Yeah.
Which is the House of M storyline.
Mhm.
Now you cannot have the House of M storyline without mutants at all.
Without 1,000.
And the thing is mutants haven't even been established. So unless they're going to be like, well, no more Avengers or no more Charles Xavier, then there's no reason for her to try to wipe out any mutant. I mean, stop them and know who they are, yes.
No,
But
again,
not like kill anybody.
I think you, and again, I think that's the whole reason why we got the whole WandaVision series is to understand her mental state. She is unstable,
Well,
dude.
I mean, that's the
She
same
is-
thing in
she
the
is- there
comics,
is-
right?
She's reading the dark. First off, she was already warned about the Darkhold. She's reading the Darkhold. We don't know what kind of a. First off, she's mentally unstable. We don't know what this powerful, mentally unstable being. What effect is taking on her reading this Darkhold.
Yeah.
We don't know what Wanda we're gonna get the next time we see her, dude.
Well, the thing about it is Wanda still doesn't know a lot about her powers, right?
Oh, she
Like
will.
now that she has the WandaVision show, she kind of dwelled a little bit more into it. Now that she's reading the Darkhold and reading into like the prophecy of her character, like she'll know a little bit more.
Mhm.
But the thing is like there's not enough establishment for because if they make her the villain now, how are they going to make her the villain in the mutant storyline?
Wait, say that one more time.
If they make her the major villain now,
Yeah.
like if she's already fucking about and doing all this stuff, and then they stop her at the end,
Yeah.
how are they going to make her efficient in the storyline for the mutants when they do House of M?
What do you? I'm not following.
because sooner or later they're going to bring the mutants into the movies.
Yeah.
Right. One of the, if not the most major event that's ever happened in the mutant world in the comic
It's
books
House of
is
M.
House of M.
Yes.
And in the story House of M, Wanda at the very beginning of the movie, or at the very beginning of the comic book, is created a reality where her and Vision had babies.
Yep.
And they're taking care of the kids, and she's all happy. And Charles Xavier shows up, and she's like, "Look, Charles, look at my babies and whatever." And Charles is like, "Wanda,
They're not real.
you need to fuck off, man. You can't be having these babies like this because they're not real."
They're not
And
real.
she's like, "What are you talking about?" Like, so she's literally imagined these kids to reality.
Yeah.
And then Charles Xavier finally gets her to realize that they're not real, and it all falls apart. And she starts to cry and starts to complain that Charles Xavier took him from her and all this stuff. And Charles is like, "No, I didn't. You need to calm down." Magneto shows up and he's like, "Dude, kids, you need to get your shit together. Quit fucking about." And you know, it all goes down. And then later on, they all leave and they leave her alone to her fruition in the room.
Yep.
They all meet up with the Avengers, and the X-Men are there. And they're all there, and they're kind of like, "Yo, we need to do something about Wanda." And they're like, "Yeah, she's kind of like, she's fucked about way too much. What do you want to do?" And they're like, "Well, there's not much we can do. What do you want to do?" And they're like, "Well, we can't shoot her off into space like the Hulk. Like, we're probably gonna have to kill her." And you know, they all look at Magneto, and Magneto's like, "Do what you got to do, man. I don't know what you got, man. You know what I mean?" The only one that's telling him no is Pietro, Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Who again isn't even in the fucking movies.
Yeah.
So like, so when it all comes to fruition, the Avengers and X-Men all show up to beat her up. She's kind of got the heads up because Quicksilver told her. So they all get there, and they all try to attack her, and she says like no, and resets the timeline, and gives everybody their most intimate like dream that they've always wanted.
Dream. Yeah.
So the first one that gets out of it is Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because he ends up, his healing factor fixes his brain. Because his memories had been wiped out, and it fixes whatever type of injury he has.
Yeah.
So it resets his memories, and he goes back to remembering his shit. He works for Shield now, and he remembers everything. And he's kind of like, "Well, what the fuck happened?" The only person that's not in this reality is Charles Xavier, because Charles Xavier is the only one that can kind of open everyone's mind up back again, right? Or even put a block in Wanda's mind and get her to stop.
Yeah. Okay.
So it goes all the way through. Magneto has his ultimate island, you know, their royalty. The X-Men are cool. Scott's married to what's her face? The ice chick, Emma Frost.
Emma Frost. Yeah.
Spider-Man's married to Gwen Stacy, who died, and they have a baby. And then, you know, they all get woken up, and Spider-Man's devastated because he's fucking lost the chick that he killed because he didn't save her in time. And it's a really fucking, Spider-Man always gets the shit under the stick in those stories. Always, bro.
Always.
And the other thing that they always do is they always give Wolverine this fucking invincible power of making him like the ultimate mutant with, he's just got claws and healing ability, and he can do everything.
I mean, but dude, you can't be mad at that.
But it goes all the way through, and at the very end, Pietro again tries to save his sister because they all end up trying to go after her again because of what she did. And in the process, they kill Pietro. And even Magneto in the process is like, "Dude, you guys need to kill this bitch because she's crazy."
Yeah.
Magneto even agrees to killing his daughter.
Yeah.
So at the very end, when all the mutants are about to go up to her, she just says, "No more mutants." And she wipes all the mutant kind off of the universe, not the planet, the universe. And even the multiverse, it fucks up the planet. So it leaves only 175 mutants left in the universe. Like only 175 people that are allowed to do, and it's never been the same ever since then in the comic books. Like they then lived on a little planet, a little island. Nobody fucked with them. Everybody felt sorry for them. They almost castrated the mutant comic books in that time.
Wow.
Now the reason why they did that was because they lost all the rights to Fox, so they had to kill off the characters, make them as minuscule as their time, and build the Inhumans. So that way nobody cares about the mutants anymore.
Gotcha.
Now, right now in the comic books, they got Krakoa, the House of X, and Swords of M. They got a bunch of stories going on, the mutants, but that's because they got the characters back.
You got them back, yeah.
So business wise, but in that process, that is one of the biggest stories that's ever happened to mutant kind. But right now in the MCU, you have zero idea of anything about mutants. And we're already in the kids storyline.
Yeah.
Which is a part of that arc already.
So what I'm saying is we're past that. We're past that already.
We're in the beginning aspect of it.
Not
That's
even
why,
because the
like,
next time I don't think it's gonna be that long until we see these kids as adults
no, because they're gonna be
or
there in
young
the Young
adults.
Avengers.
Or yeah,
They have to
or
be there to
young.
fight Kang.
That's fine. And even with that being said, we're not getting the House of M before we get that.
No, hell no. Yeah,
So that's what I'm saying. We're past that. We're past the House of M. Like we're
no,
like they
we're
took
not past the House of M yet.
okay.
And the reason why is because you have to. They're gonna use that concept for the mutant arc later.
Okay.
They're gonna when they build the mutant storyline up, they're gonna have a House of M event that's gonna because you don't have many stories other than that. Yeah, that poster, I'm telling you, man, the poster's amazing. That's why. You don't have many stories after that that are as giant as that story when it comes to it. Yes, X-Men's got a bunch of stories, Dark Phoenix and blah blah blah. Of course, Fox already fucked that story up too. But there's not a lot of other arcs that are that big except for the House of M. Now, Wanda is an important character in the comic books because of two arcs: Marvel Avengers Disassembled
Mm-hmm.
and the House of M.
Okay.
Avengers Disassembled just happened like what, Civil War?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe into Civil War when they disbanded the entire Avengers team, right? Now you have an essence that Wanda's going to be, she has to be a problem before she becomes the villain.
Okay.
And she was a problem off screen, which means she was a problem in the TV series.
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody's going to watch the TV series. You know what I mean? They're going to want to make her the problem in the films.
Okay.
So, like, if they make her a complete villain, there has to be an end to her character at the end of it. If they make her a problem, she then becomes that they just need a solution to calm her ass down. And in that process, you can get her to lose her mind casually.
I don't think that's the way they're gonna look at it, to be honest with you. And to be honest with you, that's not the way that they look at it. That's not the way that Disney plays this. Like they're balls to the wall. Like if they have it, they're gonna strike while it's good.
Well, that goes back with the terrible writing aspect.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna argue that with you, but I do think that from everything that's been suggested and she's going to be a problem in this movie. And to be honest with you, either way, I hope that I'm wrong. I kind of hope that you're right because I kind of want a slow burn. I don't want just a full on, give me everything you got in this movie. I kind of wanted to draw out.
The reason why too also is because you just had the major her problem in the story itself of WandaVision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I don't mind this. I don't mind a slow burn here. And I kind of wish that I'm wrong, but
I kind of hope, and this is just on a whim, I'm going to be very light about it. I hope that the problem came from the show. She gets the Darkhold. She does something and fucks up. Doctor Strange shows up and it's like a buddy cop movie. Like her and him have to team up to stop something. Like I kind of hope that happens because if there's anything that Wanda needs is guidance on how to use her magic. And she did not get that. She got a little bit from Agatha. And the thing is they have to bring Agatha back in this film.
Nah, dude.
Like I think 100% they're gonna bring Agatha back in this film.
I'm over it. When have you seen Wanda let loose yet? When have you seen her let loose?
Right when she's about to kill Thanos.
Right?
Yeah, that was let loose, and that was enough. And the reason why I know is
that was amazing, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing is like you knew that she let loose because Thanos was like, "Yo, whatever it takes, just kill everybody. I don't care if it kills me."
Don't listen. Me personally, I don't need more of her training. I already know that she's reading the Darkhold, right? To me, that equates to training. She's getting to learn about what she needs to learn about her powers and herself and her fulfillments and her destiny and all that shit, right? I need to see Wanda unleashed now. You gave me a series where you gave me the emotional side. You showed me how I want to see her unleashed now.
How do you think she will unleash in this film? Like, what do you think will get her to unleash?
The fact that she's looking for her children. There's nothing that's going to stop her. But then you have this guy, fucking Doctor Strange, that got to stick his nose in her fucking business, and that's what's going to set her off. Somehow that dynamic, that buddy cop shit, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think she's gonna be out of control. He's gonna try to stop her in some way, and that's where the confrontation is gonna be. That's gonna bring in America Chavez. That's gonna bring in Shurgurath. That's gonna bring in everybody because of that conflict between those two. That's where your story is, and that's where the mutants are coming in, the supernatural aspect, because they're all going to be pulled into that conflict between Doctor Strange and Wanda. And I
So
need, and the only person that Wanda can actually let loose on that's believable right now in the MCU
is Doctor Strange.
is Doctor Strange.
So I think there's one more.
Okay.
And I don't think it's Doctor Strange that's going to push it at a level.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Baron Mordo.
Really?
Because of the fact that at the end he was saying there has to be a natural balance. And I think he's going to hunt her down. I think he's going to
do, do what? That's my only problem. He's going to hunt her down and do what? Piss her off?
Strong too.
Not in the MCU.
No. They don't show him strong, but he is still strong in the MCU.
Okay.
He's been one of the protectors with the Ancient One all this time.
Okay.
Like he knows, like he didn't. For what it's worth, I mean, the dude can throw.
Yeah, no, I don't discredit
literally
that.
Like Doctor Strange, like he didn't even get to put it up against Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange, like, he ainain't gonna take him lightly. You know what I mean?
True. I just think that compared to and again, I think it's all knowing that, and not to jump forward, but like the What If series, knowing that this is canon, I think that there is a reason why we see Strange being so OP for a reason. I think of this makes sense.
I think the other thing that correlates to is the concept of the Spider-Man film. I think what this is doing is this Wanda show is going to probably be after Spider-Man.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I think he's going to show up to kind of be like, look, I know what you're doing. And there is a way we could probably make this work because we made it work there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's why he wants to be like more of like a look, I'm going to try to help you. But I think the person that's going to be chasing her down is Baron Mordo.
I did hear that. But I also, and again, this is all conspiracy. It's all theories. Like we don't know.
I do feel like the idea of it being Baron Mordo makes more sense. In the leaks or something like that, they talked about it being Baron Mordo from another dimension.
But I also heard
multiverse.
But I also heard with those leaks that she takes care of him immediately.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna. Yeah,
by the time
she could tank Doctor Strange, man.
By the time that Mordo gets to her, she is well versed in.
Yeah, she's super crazy.
Like she's well versed in the dark.
She's more versed in the magic stuff.
Yeah,
and her power is like obsolete. Like it's just like astronomical. Like there's no way he's gonna be able to work against that, even with his.
Actually, I heard that's how the movie starts. Is that he finds her and she dispatches him
real quick,
like immediately. Like immediately, and that's why.
I don't think,
and that's why. But think about it. But think about it. Like,
it makes sense.
If she does that, who is going to be brought into the fold?
Yeah,
Doctor Strange.
I think it would be one of those concepts, right? Like between her and him fighting, that would be like the first outburst of like a wild energy being released.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then she gets to let loose for the first time after reading the Darkhold. And she does something astronomical and Doctor Strange feels it.
Yeah.
But then that ripples throughout the multiverse. And other people feel it. And that's what wakes up like the Shuma Gorath character. You know what I mean? And gets him to start homing in on that essence. And then the same thing with like America Chavez's character. Like,
so are you
her character is an intergalactic paramedic multiverse person. She fixes multiverses. So for her to feel that.
Yeah. So wait, so what you're explaining is that you do agree with me that she's going to be a villain now.
No. This again. This isn't.
I'm just trying to get you to say it. I'm joking.
It's not the fact that she's a villain, but she's going to start or at least administer the idea of creating something bigger. She's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
She's going to be the cause of the major problem. Yeah. That's the equivalent to like how Ultron created Vision. Okay. Like necessarily he made him, but he didn't make him into what he is now.
Yeah.
Like I feel that she will be the character that will do something that will cause a ripple that will create an ultimate destruction of the earth or whatever.
Gotcha.
which when she creates that power, like let's say she's fighting Baron Mordo, let's say it's at the beginning or about mid time, she's fighting him and he's doing some stuff and he's fucking around and it kind of pisses her off. And then she says, well, you know what? Fuck you. And boom, hits him with something. Like when she does that hit, like she unloads it and it's felt throughout all the different aspects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that's what homes in. Like, so you get your Doctor Strange that's like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
You get your America Chavez that was like, oh shit, like I need to go to that because that feels like the same thing that I felt when they killed Utopia.
Mhm.
And then Shuma Gorath is like, I need that power. I want that power. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
And then my thing is like when they're fighting, her and Baron Mordo, I guess you could say, I think she's going to create that ripple
Okay.
in the timeline, and then that's what's going to get her to first travel through the multiverse.
Gotcha.
Like that's what I think. If not, then Doctor Strange will show up and do his little ring shit, and then he'll fucking do that, and then with her power combined, like they'll cut it through the dimension. Like I think that sling ring shit that he has, I think that is going to be multiplied by her power, and then that's how they're going to cut through the multiverse. That'd be great too. I don't know. Fuck it. Like, I mean, we're going with everything else, right? Fuck it. Fuck it. But straight up, I got to read some of the stuff that they were talking about that were leaks for the Doctor Strange 2 film.
Yeah.
And I wasn't very excited about it. There were some things that I really liked. I didn't like that they were going to do the Illuminati. I don't know if you
Why
read
not?
about that.
Yeah.
Because the
I think
Illuminati.
I think we talked about it last week.
Yeah, but the thing is like in the leaks, they're talking about them introducing the Illuminati, but all the characters are different.
Yeah.
Like they're not the original characters of the Illuminati from the comics. They're like just random fucking dudes that they've already introduced, like the dude from Ant-Man, the Mexican guy. And
no, I think I did hear, and I do understand what you're saying, but that is going from what I'm hearing. That's the way that we get introduced to Xavier.
Oh yeah. That's when Xavier is supposed to be introduced, right?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be interrogating, because Baron Mordo is a part of it. That's where Baron Mordo from that multiverse like grabs them and takes them to be interrogated by Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be her and Doctor Strange that are captured.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't make any sense if it was the Illuminati, because Doctor Strange is one of the creators of the Illuminati.
That's fine. As long as you give me Xavier in the Illuminati, I'm fine.
But the thing is like, why would Baron Mordo be working alongside Charles Xavier?
I don't know, man.
You know what I mean?
Like
that's why I'm kind of like, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
I just got a fucking what if series, dude. So I'm all like,
nothing. But you see, like the what if episodes, like we're gonna talk about that too, man. We're gonna talk about that for sure. But just that concept, like I can see her running into Charles Xavier, and Charles Xavier like automatically wheeling up in his cool ass wheels and being like, Wanda, you need to calm down.
What
and
Xavier?
Like, who the fuck are you?
What Xavier are we getting?
The yellow wheelchair, dude.
The yellow one?
Yeah, the hover one.
The hover
but
one.
We're getting the McAvoy one.
We're getting that's
okay, so Patrick Stewart. I think for Justice, he got a really beautiful send off.
Okay.
In Logan. And I think as an actor, he kind of feels it too.
Can we give him his flowers in the amazing job he did in Logan? I don't think that gets talked. I don't think that gets talked about enough. Like I know that Hugh Jackman gets his flowers for that movie.
Yeah,
but I honestly don't think Patrick Stewart gets his flowers. He did an amazing job.
A lot of people kind of overlook it because you know the Wolverine character is like what it's all about.
Yeah,
but like, man, dude, Patrick Stewart did such.
He did a great job in that movie.
I just rewatched that movie like last week because they released it on HBO Max again.
Yeah.
So I watched it again, and yeah, dude, Patrick Stewart's performance was.
I just felt as though I had to take some time.
It's because like that whole entire time of like our adolescence of reading the X-Men comic books, we put Charles Xavier up here because he's such a sophisticated individual.
Yeah.
That the moment
he's like in the class by itself, like he's in the whole.
But the moment you take Charles Xavier down a peg and you make him like what the fuck, like fuck you, you piece of shit, like you make him a normal dude talking normal, not like all scholastic book fair kind of shit. Like you peg him down a little bit, like you fucking make him a normal dude, and you kind of feel bad. Yeah. You kind of see him for what he is, and he's not a god. He's just a man that's portraying himself to be like this high quality elite person in the world. But like, nah, dude, when he's like, you know, having another dude like fucking hold him to take a piss or a shit, like
he was losing it. Yeah,
dude, man, it's so fucking. It was sad, and it was sad and really good at the same time.
It was great. It
Yeah,
was
it was
great.
a really great performance by Patrick Stewart, and of course, like for what it's worth, for no matter how flat the Logan story was,
Mhm.
the send off for both characters was good. Was
Spectacular.
good.
Yep.
Yeah, because Charles Xavier, you know, he gets killed by the young Wolverine that he tried to save.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And then that character, the animal that he said he really wasn't, that he, you know, they changed him into a humble person and a man and all this stuff. Like that animal killed him,
Yeah.
and he dies in such a horrible way. Of
Yeah.
course, it's Wolverine that kills another fucking Omega level mutant, being that he's a running
I
Swiss Army knife.
I kinda hear it in your voice, like, you kinda have, like, this little, like, thing about Wolverine, like, you just don't believe him.
I used to be, dude. I have a Wolverine tattoo. Like
Okay.
like I'm a huge fan of Wolverine, but like just I'm so tired of him being the
OP.
crutch of every story. Like we're gonna talk about it in a little bit because we have the what if episode, but like even in that story, he was the crutch.
Mhm.
And just like House of M, he was the crutch. Just like in Days of Future Past, he was the crutch. They sent him back to the past. Like he's always the dude. You know what I mean?
It's fanfare. Like, at
Yeah,
certain
because he's the
points,
most
like,
popular
he's
character.
the most popular character,
Yeah,
so you
you
have to
can't
give it
not
more
write about
weight.
him.
You have to make him
You want
centralized in
he's the
everything.
Batman of the Marvel universe. If you want to
Yeah,
sell shit, you put Wolverine in it.
there
And
it
I
is.
just don't know. I don't feel like that's the same anymore.
Mm.
Like I don't feel like he's got that popularity behind him anymore. No, that's just my opinion. But going back to this story, like there's so much, there's so many rumors that it kind of like it's almost scary in the essence of like what they're gonna do with this film.
I
Because
can't
I
wait.
mean, you're like me. Like I 100% think they're gonna put a lot of cash behind this shit.
This is gonna
It's
be
gonna be a
some
big fucking movie.
this is gonna be insane, dude.
Now, the reason why I think it's
Insane.
going to be a big movie is because it's the first of the Phase 4 movies, and
Mhm.
they're going to be like, "Yo, let's all
Set
our
the
marbles
tone.
in it, all
Set
our
the
marbles
tone.
in it."
Yep,
Yeah,
set the
let's take
tone.
it to them. I don't know what the other films after this, how they're going to portray or what they're going to do, because this seems like it's going to be a big fucking movie. To like, I would hate to be the second runner up against this shit.
No, honestly, it actually makes it easier for you because then if you make a movie this epic or this big, the rest of the movies can just be the result of that first movie.
Now,
You don't have to do too much.
my question to you, and I'll answer it a little bit too. Do you think Kang the Conqueror should be introduced or brought into or in some way responded to in this story, or do you think they should hold off for a later film?
Later film. I think we get Kang when we get Fantastic Four.
Okay. I
I
agree
don't think
too.
I
I
don't think
agree.
I don't think we need Kang until we get Fantastic Four. This Doctor Strange movie is there's no room for Kang.
Yeah, I
And
don't think there's no
Kang
room for him.
Yeah, Kang is too important of a character as to where they want to be and where they want to go to try to just sneak him in. Maybe in like a post-credit scene if you want, maybe to make it cute.
Maybe.
But yeah, maybe. But he should not be introduced until the Fantastic Four is established.
So with me, I think it's going to be that Kang. They should hold up on Kang, but I think that they should bring him in Ant-Man, which I think is
Okay.
where he's going to be
Well,
coming
yeah.
out in.
Well, yeah.
I think he'd be a really great character because of the fact that Ant-Man has kind of transitioned into the quantum realm more.
Mhm.
And the time travel and all that stuff, like that's what they're going to be prominent with. Like now that they know that they could do that, that's going to be like where they go as characters. And I think they need something like a hand slap or a limiter to be like, you can't time travel, bro. That's not your realm. And I think that they need someone to stop them from doing that, because then you would just quantum realm time travel to fix every problem. You know what I mean? They need to kind of put a limit on that, which is same thing. We're gonna talk about the Infinity Stones, man. We gotta talk about that too, man. That was crazy too. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
think
can't do it.
Kang's gonna be way too big of a character to install in this. I think that already has too many moving parts.
Yeah.
And I think holding back on that, I think if anything, maybe when they do Loki season 2, they can kind of expand more on Kang.
Yeah,
As a
you know what?
character?
I don't mind that. I don't mind
Yeah.
getting more Kang where he came from, like with
Yeah, because I
the
think it would
story
be
where he
more
came
like an essence of him expanding, like the way that they did the Man at the End of Time, or that one character that he already did.
from. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
where they really got to let him kind of like, you know, spread his acting
Yeah,
muscles out, which
yeah.
was fantastic, dude. Which was fucking fantastic.
Jonathan Majors is
Uh,
phenomenal.
so I think him coming out in Loki 2 would probably be a little bit more prominent, and then into Ant-Man. Maybe get a different version of him acting wise in both kind of iterations.
Yep.
Like you have one of them that's like a nerd, and then that one be like extremely aggressive, or
Mhm.
vice versa. But yeah, I don't think he'll be coming out of this one. I think for what it's worth, it's just going to be this like
Take your
band
time,
of people. Yeah,
Disney.
take your time.
Disney, take your time.
But overall, pretty excited. Agatha Harkness spinoff. I'm gonna have to wait on that a little bit. I'm gonna be a bit more reserved. I think the actress is amazing. I don't know what they're gonna do with the story. I really don't feel like there's a necessity to make it, but if it's gonna be something that's kind of based maybe in the concept of her being in that universe of Wanda still, kind of make it fun and a comedy where she's trying to escape it, that would
Mhm.
be really cool. Like
I
if she was
can't
able to escape the spell,
I think that's
that
what
would
they're gonna
really be
go.
an interesting story because it kind of like then you're like, whoa, 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 this chick's not some slouch. Like
Yeah, no.
she broke
I
Wanda's
think
spell. She's got a
I
little
think
bit more.
I think that's where
Yeah,
I
that's
think that
pretty cool too.
that's where they're gonna go. And honestly, I'm all for it. I can't name you a movie, a show, anything that Catherine Hahn has disappointed.
Yeah,
So I'm all for it, dude.
yeah, me too.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
So here we go, man. Last part of the conversation today.
Let's go. The big
We
one. The
finally
big
got
one.
full season
The
all the
big
way
one.
to the end of Marvel What If.
We
So the
did.
final episode came out Wednesday. What, Wednesday?
Wednesday. Correct.
Wednesday. We had a
Wednesday.
very interesting finale. We finally had the reveal of the multiversal Avengers, the
Yeah,
Guardians of the Multiverse.
The Guardians of the Multiverse is Infinity.
Um, yeah, and we finally got, of course, a big O showdown with the big baddie, and we got to see the apparent Watcher break his oath. So overall, what did you think of Marvel What If?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna let the little things, the little details that I kind of nitpick at to kind of deter me from my overall feelings. I enjoyed it. And I think I enjoyed it for the fact that I didn't expect much from this. And I guess when you keep your expectations low,
Yeah, you're
you,
pretty
you
much
kind of
gonna be
yeah,
exposed.
you're pretty much good. So like I I loved it. I did you and I talked behind the scenes. I did have some issues with this episode and the last episode. And I you know what? I am a person that loves or am not afraid to admit when I could be wrong. And I will say that you might have been onto something when it comes to the continuity of the Infinity Stones because it was on display on Wednesday.
Mhm.
But overall, I did love this series, the season. I would probably give it. I know you didn't ask me, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. I'm probably gonna give it 8.8 out of
Yeah,
10.
yeah, it sounds about
I
right.
give
I mean, I'm in the same boat. I thought for what it was worth, it was a fun watch. I think it was very entertaining. It's a lot better than the cartoons that
okay.
Marvel puts out, right? And in the last couple years, yeah, they've had some really cool Avengers stories, Ultimate Avengers,
Hmm.
Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man cartoons and stuff like that. I mean, you have your Marvel Rise, I think that's what it's called,
Okay.
which is another iteration of cartoon characters with a lot of the newer age comic book characters.
Okay.
America Chavez, Squirrel Girl,
Hmm.
Camilla Khan, like a lot of these characters come out in that one. But that one's not really that much, like it's not very good. But that one's more like a kid show. But to
Okay.
finally get like this like pretty hardcore version of the Marvel Universe in animated film, it went pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, like overall, it was a pretty spectacular job. Yeah, there were some bad writings on some episodes. I feel like a lot of it was filler because we
Okay.
didn't need that much of an origin stories to like all of
Okay.
them.
You know what? All right. Let's get this out the way now. All right. Let me ask you a question.
Shoot.
You have a choice.
Okay.
It's multiple choice. Is it more important to have a story where it explains the Infinity Stone Crusher or Party Thor? Because that's what we were left with.
I mean, none of those are important.
But no, I'm saying if you want to say in this finale, it was important that well, yeah, in the grand scale, like in like on I guess on the bigger picture, I guess the Infinity Stone Crusher didn't mean as much, but I kind of wanted to know why this was supposed to be important.
Okay, so I had two references in my mind when I saw that.
Okay.
My first reference was the world destroying weapon that Black Swan brings
Okay.
during the comics during the incursions.
Hmm.
I don't know if you got to read that right before Secret World and Battle World. I don't know if you got into the comics at that time.
Okay. I didn't
There's
know.
this character named Black Swan who's a part of Rabun Allah, which is this one character. It's Doctor Doom in another multiverse that's like God.
Okay.
But they show up in the incursions and they have this box and they're holding it the same way as that Atom Smasher or whatever,
Yeah.
or the Infinity Smasher, Crusher, whatever. They hold it the same way, but it fires upwards and it destroys planets. So like when she pulled that out, I was like, "Oh fuck, is that reference to that weapon that chick used in fucking incursions?"
Yeah.
Whoa, that's pretty epic for them to like like you're willing to destroy the whole fucking universe if you don't stop this thing. Wow, that's crazy. Like that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because in the comic books that destroys a planet like with one shot.
Yeah.
In this one it ended up being where it was like a fucking guard dog that eats jewels. So
I asked.
it didn't apply the right way.
I
The second reference, hold on. The second reference
Okay.
was in Guardians of the Galaxy, that one gun that Raccoon makes in part 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just that fucking just them making weapons. So
Okay.
that's when I was kind of like, oh, it's a Gamora. She's like Rocket Raccoon's Guardian of the Galaxy. Like they just make random fucking weapons like in the back of the ship,
Yeah.
and they hold it all fucking like it's the same thing. The one that in the first movie.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was referenced to. And then she turns it on and it turns into a dog and it runs up to him and it starts eating it.
Turns
And
into a
I
dog.
was real like, what? Like,
Okay. And so that's my
okay.
problem. Right there is my problem. Because they could have, all right. So apparently we missed out on an episode. They was supposed to be originally 10 episodes. We got 9.
Yeah. That
And
was the episode that they were missing was the Tony and Gamora episode, right?
was the Tony and Gamora on Sakaar and defeating Thanos. Yes.
Mhm.
So why would you not give me that episode and explain how, not one, but if you give me a Tony Stark with a Hulk Buster fucking suit on
Yeah.
with the Sakaar fucking painting as like if he was being in the fucking
Gladiator
Terror
stuff.
Dome, yeah, as like the gladiator, and then you give me Gamora, who's a fucking complete
Yeah,
badass.
who's now
Who,
Thamora because she's
yeah,
Thanos and Gamora.
you fucking tell me that she's the baddest chick in the fucking galaxy, but have
Yeah.
yet to show me. But yet in this What If series, you have the chance to show me how fucking badass she is.
Yeah, in the comic books, there is a part where Gamora kills Thanos
Yeah.
and becomes this character named Requiem.
So you
And
have
she kind of
so
becomes the new Thanos, takes
so
the
you
gauntlet and all that good shit.
you have this um opportunity to show that, and yet you decide to take that episode out and give me Party Thor.
Yeah,
That
I think
on the
you want to
grand
know why?
on the grand scale of things meant that was a filler episode.
I think it's because they have something in that episode that they didn't want to show, and that's
Okay,
Beta Ray Bill.
you think so?
100%, I think it's Beta Ray Bill
Wow.
because of the fact that we're looking at a
Why
time
would you not want to
displacement.
show that?
Because they haven't given us an actor yet who's going to be the guy that comes out in the Thor Foster story.
Come on,
So I think Beta Ray Bill's going to come out in Jane Foster's story.
maybe.
I think 100% that when Thor is in space with the Guardians, like he's going to find Beta Ray Bill.
I'm gonna tell you this: if I find out later on down the line through a leak that in that episode they kept me from Beta Ray Bill, I'm gonna take this 8.9 and I'm shoving it down to probably like a
Oh, you better
6.5.
get ready, man. The reason why I think it's going to be Beta Ray Bill is because the time displacement time, the concept of this story, it happens during the Avengers movie in the first one, which is
Okay.
way before Ragnarok happens in the storyline, the timeline. So you're looking at the Grandmaster before the Hulk got there, and the champions were Biface and Beta Ray Bill on the tower.
And Beta, oh, you son of a bitch! You're right.
Yeah. So more than likely, Warbound wise, Tony Stark is going to be with Beta Ray Bill. So that's
Okay.
going to be his friend instead of it being Croc or whatever, Krog or I
Crockett.
forgot, Corn or whatever. So that's my concept. And the reason why they didn't want to show it is because the actor has not been established on who's going to voice Beta Ray Bill.
Gotcha.
It could be Seth Green. It could be fucking Chris Pratt, or it could be a million people that they're choosing. They just haven't said it yet. But they're going to bring the voice actor of Beta Ray Bill to portray Beta Ray Bill in that one. That would be the only reason why I think that they don't bring it.
It just didn't make any sense. And then like apparently they introduced this machine that has supposedly destroys Infinity Stones, and you're just supposed to be like, oh, okay, I guess. But yeah, you could have easily introduced that in a full episode. And
I mean, for what it's worth, there's not a lot of machines that do that in the comics. So like, even for what they did in this, I was kind of like, okay, cool. Like, why would that machine even matter? Like, why don't you just get your Infinity Stones?
what do you mean?
Like, why didn't they just go after their Infinity Stones and just fight them with Infinity Stones?
I see where you're going with this, but
Yeah,
like
that's why Doctor Strange, like literally, he stops them all with the time
the time stone,
and then fucking Doctor Strange's like, I got you, bitch, I got one of those too, like, and then stops time with him or opens up time or whatever, and then
so
gets him with.
This is actually your time to shine because you have been calling the continuity issue. So like,
Well, I
it's
mean,
on display again this
I mean,
episode. So
but that's why this episode didn't feel all that great, is because again, the biggest concern was not because the Infinity Gauntlet, the stones, they're that strong, so why don't you just fight everybody else with stones?
Yeah.
The reason is because the writers had all of that time to be like, man, fuck, dude, like if we write this story this way, we're gonna have to put the stones in that way. We can't have the stones do that. Like, they went through all that stuff writing the Infinity Stones since the 60s, 70s, 80s in the comics, whenever they were established, all the way until now. But the TV shows, it's a whole new group of writers that are like, oh, look at this cool thing we get to write about.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they don't reference the material anymore because they just want to do it for the wow factor.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of people, like, my biggest concern was what they did to Thanos, right?
Yeah.
But then again, like, how do you portray an ultimate power with live action compared to animation? Animation, you could do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
CG doesn't matter because you're drawing that shit anyways. Applying that to the real world and then having actors get in a green screen and then doing that's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So like, a lot of people are shitting on the idea like, oh man, Thanos is a bitch compared to the old man. Age of Ultron was so scary. Yeah, Age of Ultron is scarier because he's willing to get with it, but Thanos was a scary motherfucker because he didn't blink.
Yeah.
He didn't blink. He was 100% sure he was going to wipe out half of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Thanos or Ultron at first didn't understand, but he's just a robot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he just does things like on a whim, like when he cuts them in half and does all this other shit.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's like, how many times did that happen with Doctor Strange and Dormammu? And he only had one stone. You know what I mean? How many times did it happen in the movie where, the Avengers are attacking Thanos and fucking dudes are already like, Thanos is whipping them all over the place and fence and line and all this other shit. Like, they really dumbed him down for the show, and it did not benefit at the very end.
Gotcha.
Like, it did not benefit. And then of course the eighth, what is it? We had 9 episodes. The 8th episode, Ultron, Multiverse Ultron is doing a bunch of amazing shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the last episode, he's getting tanked by Black Widow.
Yeah, so that's my biggest issue, is that he was so OP in the prior episode, and he had such difficulty with, I'm gonna be honest with you, lesser
characters.
Lesser characters.
Yeah, lesser characters.
Let's just call a spade a spade. That didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Yeah. It didn't. And then not only that, but you actually get him on or in a universe where the Infinity Stones are actually from.
Yeah.
And the only time he actually uses them is when he used the time stone.
When he uses the time stone.
That's it.
Other than that, he's just using his own fucking power set.
Powers. Yeah. Like, it didn't make any fucking sense to me.
Yeah, the writing in the last one did really, like, it just kind of like underwrote Ultron to make it feel like the heroes can do some shit.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually, on a lighter note, like on a lesser note, I was more scared of Killmonger getting the Infinity Stones than
how cool was that? How cool was that?
Man, that was like, man, dude.
How cool was that?
For that to be the ending, I was real like, man, you all fucked up, dude. Like, man, you gave this guy this shit. How did
Yeah,
no one see him with the head of Ultron earlier, like in the pub?
yeah.
The Watcher just chilling out. That's his job. Like just watching this dude look at that Ultron head.
I
Like
don't,
that's
I don't,
100% his job. Like the
I
whole
don't, I don't gasp often, but when like
fuck,
when
dude, that was
Ultron was
crazy.
down and you saw the head glow, like the Ultron droid head
That was
glow,
the
and
only part that I was kind of like, fuck, dude,
you
that was pretty
saw the
ready.
Infinity Stones rise and then go to Eric Killmonger. I'm like,
And
oh
dude, it wasn't
shit,
even in the
dude.
fact that like Ultron had to lose and then Killmonger picked it up. Is that not just for what it's worth? Like the Black Panther movie with Michael B. Jordan on how he portrayed Killmonger and
Yeah.
his rational thinking, and then the what if episodes of him killing Tony Stark and all the people and his rational thinking. Like the moment that I kind of knew they were gonna do the Infinity Stones to him, I was like, man, dude, that's scary as fuck. Like I
Yes,
really
he's
think
smart as
Killmonger
fuck.
with
Yeah,
Infinity Stones is
it's a
way
problem.
scarier than all those people.
It's a
And it's not even
problem.
in the fact that there was a really fucked up meme that I saw where it's like Killmonger with the Infinity Stones, and it was like a black dude with a whip and two white guys in a field. And I was like, that's gonna be his reality. I was like, gee, God, dude, like that's fucking funny, dude. But not even that. It's just knowing that he's like a Xerxes kind of god.
Yeah,
Like he's like one of those gods. It's like you're cool. I'll let you live. But like the moment you like almost cross him,
you're
next,
done.
like on
You're
to the
done.
next one. You guys are good. Like as
And
long as you're living in his rule, he understands.
I love the fact how when he got the Infinity Stones and they're like,
He
when
literally got everyone to be like, "Yo, I can give you what you want. I can give
yo,
you
did
what
you
you
see
want.
that?
What's wrong with
Like,
that?"
exactly. Like he's
Yeah, that
trying to
was
explain to you, yo,
fucking
relax.
scary,
Like,
dude.
yo, like that
I'm
was that
telling you,
was
that's what makes him super
that was
scary. Is
amazing.
because like
That was amazing.
because 100% you. That's the way he talked to Pepper Potts, but he would have killed her in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's the man, dude. That was the only thing that I felt was fantastic about that story.
Yeah.
Because I would have liked
I
to
will
see
agree with
and
you. I will agree with you.
kind of a little bit weird with the end where like Doctor Strange puts them in the little crystal and then takes them to his reality.
I don't
That
like the
really
way
much
he said
reminds me
that.
of Brainiac in the DC universe
Okay.
because
I don't
DC
like
he does that a lot.
I don't like the way that Strange said, anything for a friend or whatever he said. Like,
Mhm,
I kind of don't like that particular Strange
mhm.
being so close or have access
Yeah,
to the Infinity Stones.
yeah, me neither. I don't. I mean, I
I
understand that
don't
they're
trust
trying to
him.
do like a weird rendition of the Infinity Watch,
Yeah.
but I don't like the fact that this Doctor Strange is that important.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what they needed, like someone who is kind of casually evil to be that evil.
Yeah.
Because I guess to put two people in a diamond that's gonna be like that for eternity, you got to be a little heartless.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, for what it's worth, I'm not very impressed by that Doctor Strange. Like,
Okay.
I think he's cool, but like, I like our Doctor Strange more. This
Yeah.
one, I kind of feel like he's like a write off to just have an OP Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just a little bit stronger than the other one, but it's because he's evil or so. I don't know. Like it's just a
I
really weird write off.
personally think there was no reason for any of the other characters in this show at
Yeah, they
all.
didn't do much. Yeah, they
There
didn't do
was
much.
really literally no I won't say they didn't do much because they all had their own thing, but I'm pretty sure that this Doctor Strange could have went head to head with fucking Ultron
Oh,
and let him fucking
definitely, man.
down.
He could have just done it by himself.
He could have did it by himself.
The Ego Thor, he was funny. The Viva Las Vegas was pretty funny.
I was
Um,
over it. You know what? If I don't see another Party Thor episode or
yeah, I'll be
another
happy. I'll be
mention, I'm
fucking
fine.
ecstatic, dude, if they don't
I'm
do it again.
fine. I'm fine.
The Peggy Carter story was pretty cool. I like what they did with her character. I thought it was kind of interesting. I do prefer Captain America though, but Peggy Carter is still an interesting character nonetheless. I think that the reason why they introduced that thing at the end is because there will be a second season, of
Mhm.
course. We do know that Peggy Carter was supposed to come out in Doctor Strange Part 2, the movie,
Yep.
as Captain Carter, which is a cool little callback to the series.
Yeah.
That the what if is canon, which is what we're scared of now, knowing that there's
It is,
Ultrons and
baby.
Killmongers and
It
all this other
is,
stuff.
baby. It's canon,
But
baby.
like what I think that the reason why they found the Hydra Buster at the end is because they found Steve Rogers, but I think he's going to be their
Say it.
version of the Winter Soldier.
Say it. You know what I think it is? I
Uh,
think it's going to lead into the Hydra Cap.
Maybe that would be interesting. That would be, but off of their storyline, maybe.
Exactly.
But I
Off
think he's
of
going to
their
be their
storyline.
version of Hydra. No, not Hydra. Their version
The
of the
Winter
Winter
Soldier.
Soldier.
Yeah, no,
So
I
he'll
think
be
so.
Bucky's. He'll be her Bucky.
He'll be Bucky.
Yeah, which is her
think,
best friend.
Which I initially I thought, but that's actually after I thought about it, I think this would be a perfect time to get in your Hydra Cap.
Oh man, that'll be a whole other story for another day, man. Because they already set that up really good too. Yeah, but overall the What If episodes, pretty digestible. Not what we wanted to see, like at the very end. But then again, what do we got to say, man? The show's literally about random shit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
for it being pretty random, like I think coherently, like it kind of like ended on a good note. I'm
yeah.
really excited to see what they do with the second series. I like it. I like the idea of it. If they kind of make it more of like just a Disney Plus show and not really make it about the films all that much,
Yeah.
I think it has potential to be super crazy and probably like the next animated thing that they got going on.
Yeah.
But straight up, guys, what did you think of Marvel's What If? Was it something that you really dug? Was the finale something that you really liked or disliked? Were you on the side of it being enough, or did you want some more? What else? What else did we talk about? Guys, what did you think of Squid Game? Are you going to be dressing up as some of the characters for Halloween? What do you guys got planned for Halloween? Are you going to be going out to Anime Fiesta tomorrow, this weekend? What do you think of Agatha's Doctor Strange spinoff? What would you call it? A WandaVision spinoff? What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's going to be a good show? Let us know in the comments. Guys, hit us up in the DM. Is there anything you want us to cover that's coming up in news? Guys, if there's anything that you want us to check out, hit us up. Let us know what you think. Guys, remember, we love you. Try to be careful, take care of each other, be safe, be smart and try to help your fellow man out. Brian, thank you so much, dude. It's always a pleasure sitting down and chilling with you. We got to see Trigger jump in the comments earlier, which was really nice. We may be getting him on the show a couple more times coming soon, which would be pretty cool, man. Get all three of us on the show again like the last time. That was super fun.
Let's go. I loved it.
Guys, thank you so much again for tuning in at the show. We appreciate you guys, every one of you. And we'll see you guys again next week here on the Average Boys Podcast every Friday night, 9 p.m. Laters.
Peace.